Hello, everyone, and welcome to London, a special way for us to start our NBC football year here in Great Britain, where they've really taken a fancy to American football, and the NFL hasn't disappointed. They've sent two special teams.
With a lot of offensive firepower, the two top-rated quarterbacks of all time in Marino and Montana, some good backups, Jaworski and Steve Young. And, of course, if you're a great quarterback, you need great receivers, and we have some outstanding ones here. The head of the list, the MVP in the NFL last year, Jerry Rice, and he is unbelievable.
Jerry Rice, number 80 in the white of the 49ers, 22 touchdown passes, an all-time record in a strike-shortened season last year.
Miami comes back with their own Marks brothers, but one of them's not here. Duper's not here. Mark Clayton is, and he is outstanding.
Mark Clayton, perhaps underrated, has 39 touchdown catches in the last 4 years. You can hear the enthusiasm in the background. These British fans do indeed bring their own special excitement to this contest, and again, it's all but a sellout. Now, the cornerback situation has both quarterbacks salivating.
You look out there and look at San Francisco's cornerbacks. Their first starting cornerbacks stayed at home. They're holding out. They've had some injuries. They're down to a rookie and a reject. And I'll tell you, Marino's saying, let me out there. Let me have a shot at him. But I'll tell you, on the other side, Miami hasn't covered anybody in the defensive secondary for the last couple of years, so they've got their own problems to deal with.
So Montana and Young will be taking aim as well. Perhaps the most interesting aspect of this game are the two coaches. Don Shula is a very proud head man, 25 years in the league, one of the best records, second only to George Halas. But his teams have been mediocre the last 2 years, the two worst years back-to-back in Shula's tenure. He wants to get that turned around, and he's let his players know that very well.
You'd think in San Francisco that things would be rosy. They've won 2 Super Bowls in the 80s. But Eddie DeBartolo says, hey, this is a great team. I've done everything you wanted. We've got the highest payroll in the NFL. We've got a brand new $10 million facility. We have to win. And not only win games and get to the playoffs, we have to win Super Bowls. They've been there the last 3 years. They've lost their first playoff game in the playoffs the last 3 years. They were embarrassed last year at home. And I think the heat is up in San Francisco. The heat's on Walsh, and he has turned it on the players.
And he's let his players know that very well.
You'd think in San Francisco that things would be...
Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
1, 2.
Yes, I do. I do.
I don't hear you.
Okay. So, Merlin, you okay?
I hear Dick. I don't hear Larry. Talk to me, Larry. Yeah.
Yeah, now I hear you.
I hear you. That was stronger the second time. Is it all right for you? Yes. All right, I hear you. So far.
Uh-huh. So we're going to pick it up right with a coin toss, right? What's ambassador prices for? Oh, okay, that's how I started. Charles Price. That was stirring. That was really nice.
Got good background noise. Good lively crowd for the.
Mm-hmm. Do I have that copy in case? Harry, do you have that copy just in case? The copy in case?
The copy that he did for that.
The opening copy. London welcomes two of the NFL's best to open the 1988 preseason, bridging the ever-narrowing sports gap between England and the U.S. It's the Dolphins and the 49ers. Featuring Joe Montana, who guided San Francisco to the best record in the league last year, but Montana starts 88 fighting for a starting job. Miami's march has been slowed to a walk recently by a porous defense, but the Dolphins can turn on the lights offensively with record-setting quarterback Dan Marino. The British will watch two of the NFL's top minds, Don Shula, now in his 26th NFL year, Bill Walsh, who has masterminded two Super Bowl wins in the 80s. From Wembley Stadium, it's American Bowl number 3. As the National Broadcasting Company presents the National Football League. Today from London, England, it's the San Francisco 49ers and the Miami Dolphins. Today's game is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by AT&T, the right choice. Famed Wembley Stadium for 60 years, the most important sports arena in Great Britain is the scene on a cloudy night, 60 degrees, as the British again welcome back American football. Wembley Stadium with some 70,000 fans to watch the Dolphins and the 49ers. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to London, a special way for us to start our NBC football year here in Great Britain, where they've really taken a fancy to American football, and the NFL hasn't disappointed. They've sent two special teams.
With a lot of offensive firepower, the two top-rated quarterbacks of all time in Marino and Montana, some good backups, Jaworski and Steve Young. And, of course, if you're a great quarterback, you need great receivers, and we have some outstanding ones here. The head of their list, the MVP in the NFL last year, Jerry Rice, and he is unbelievable.
Jerry Rice, number 80 on the white of the 49ers, 22 touchdown passes, an all-time record in a strike-shortened season last year.
Miami comes back with their own Marx brothers, but one of them's not here. Duper's not here. Mark Clayton is, and he is outstanding.
Mark Clayton, perhaps underrated, has 39 touchdown catches in the last 4 years. You can hear the enthusiasm in the background. These British fans do indeed bring their own special excitement to this contest, and again, it's all but a sellout. Now, the cornerback situation has both quarterbacks salivating.
You look out there and look at San Francisco's cornerbacks. Their first starting cornerbacks stayed at home. They're holding out. They've had some injuries. They're down to a rookie and a reject. And I'll tell you, Marino's saying, let me out there. Let me have a shot at him. But I'll tell you, on the other side, Miami hasn't covered anybody in the defensive secondary for the last couple of years, so they've got their own problems to deal with.
So Montana and Young will be taking aim as well. Perhaps the most interesting aspect of this game are the two coaches. Don Shula is a very proud head man, 25 years in the league, one of the best records, second only to George Halas. But his teams have been mediocre the last 2 years, the two worst years back-to-back in Shula's tenure. He wants to get that turned around, and he's let his players know that very well.
You'd think in San Francisco that things would be rosy. They've won 2 Super Bowls in the 80s. But Eddie DeBartolo says, hey, this is a great team. I've done everything you wanted. We've got the highest payroll in the NFL. We've got a brand new $10 million facility. We have to win. And not only win games and get to the playoffs, we have to win Super Bowls. They've been there the last 3 years. They've lost their first playoff game in the playoffs the last 3 years. They were embarrassed last year at home. And I think the heat is up in San Francisco. The heat's on Walsh, and he has turned it on the players.
Time now for the toss of the coin, and the U.S. ambassador to Great Britain, Charles Price, will be involved, and the PA announcer and the voice of the Phoenix Cardinals, John Ramsey. And we're not hearing John Ramsey as yet, but you see the ambassador playing it right down the middle in his attire.
He is not going to be accused of favoritism in any way, shape, or form.
Gordon McCarter, the veteran referee, presenting Ambassador Price.
Gentlemen, the Honorable Charles Price, United States Ambassador to Great Britain, will do the honors of the coin toss. Miami is a designated home team. San Francisco, you're the visitors, therefore it will be your choice. We have heads, we have tails. Call it in the air, loud and clear, as the ambassador tosses it up. Heads is the call. Heads is the call. San Francisco choice. The ambassador, thank you very much, sir.
So McCarter indicates that the 49ers will receive at the left end of the field as you watch. And we are joined here at Wembley Stadium by a member of NFL 88, and he's going to give us a flavor of this crowd in this game from down on the floor. Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Dick. Now, you guys mentioned there was pressure on both of these coaches. When there's pressure on a coach, there's twice as much pressure on a football team. Different kinds of pressure, though. San Francisco, as you mentioned, they need to win a Super Bowl. They've had 2 very good seasons, but they haven't won a Super Bowl, so training camp for them is something of they're trying to smooth themselves out. On the other hand, Miami, they're just trying to get some respectability. So their training camp has been wide open. A bunch of guys trying to work out and try to find some spots for some playing time. Now, what I will be doing, I will be in the crowd all day trying to get the flavor of this game. Right now, I'm in the standing section. Get a good shot at me. These people here will be standing the entire game. The reason I said get a good shot at me is because I'm leaving here. I'm not standing the whole game. I'm going down where they got some seats. Back to you, blokes.
All right, Ahmad. This kickoff to start our NBC NFL preseason 1988 is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Rod Roves will tee it up. As you see, the 49er offensive lineup. And now, the Budweiser kickoff. Joe Krebs. Doug DeBose are deep for the 49ers. It's Krebs. Oh, as he hit at the 14-yard line. A driving tackle as Miami starts with a good open field hit by Jeff Cross, a rookie for the Dolphins, who is highly regarded by the Dolphin coaching staff. There's Joe Montana for the first time in his 9 years, led the NFL in passing. Roger Craig and Tom Rathman, the running backs. The brilliant Jerry Rice, Wes Chandler from the Chargers, the wide receivers. The tight end is John Frank. The offensive line for San Francisco rebuilding in the last 2 years. Wallace, Briggle, Cross, Sapulu, and Barton.
I believe Bubba Paris has gone in place of Wallace. Some shifting going on even before the first
And
play.
a reverse to Jerry Rice. 25-30 and out of bounds at the 35-yard line. The NFL's most valuable player of last year gets the call on the opening play, a 21-yard reverse.
We talked about the excitement that Jerry Rice brings to the game. We don't have to wait long to see it. Look at this. He springs the quick reverse, taking advantage of a very eager Miami defense. He's out there all by himself, picks up a nice gain.
And Montana did a pretty good job of tying up Rick Graff, the man on the corner, the linebacker, as Rice has a first down for the 49ers at the 35. Montana's first throw, complete to Chandler. First down at the 49-yard line, and he took quite a belt, holds on to the football. Bud Brown was the man who got there first. 14 yards for Chandler, the newest of the 49er wide receivers, along with Dokie Williams, acquired from the Raiders. T.J. Turner, Brian Soche, and John Bosa, a young front three for Miami. Graf, Ship, Offerdahl, and Green. And Hugh Green, a big part of the story. They're the deep four for Miami. First down, Roger Craig. And Craig is inside the 50 to the Miami 49. Lifford Hobley, along with Paul Langford, in on the tackle for the Dolphins.
Rick Graf also there, the outside linebacker, a young man that the Dolphins are expecting big things of this year. At 6'5", 249, he has the same ratio of size and strength as some of the great linebackers in the league, Taylor, Tippett, Bennett. The Dolphins are hoping that he's going to show signs of moving into that class of linebacking.
It's second down and a short 8 for San Francisco. Ron Heller, number 89, comes in at tight end, double tight end, and it's Roger Craig vaulting to the 45-yard line. John Offerdahl in his third year from Western Michigan. Number 56, Pro Bowler, his first 2 seasons, there to meet Craig short of a first down.
In the middle of this line, number 51, Randy Cross, veteran center. Cross earlier in the week was heard to say, "Hey, I thought we came here to play one game. You got 3 games out of me already." These teams scrimmaged against each other very aggressively for 2 days, a little bit easier on one day. Some feel that this is their 3rd game.
Montana looking at 3rd and 4. Chandler, and a good defensive play by 49 William Judson, the 7-year veteran from South Carolina State. He was plagued last year, had 7 interference calls against him, and you might remember it was bearded. He shaved that off. It's a new Judson this season.
He says he's going to make it a new start with that new look, and he better. The pressure is on these defensive backs. Tom Olivadotti has said they've got a chance to prove that they can play and stay. If they don't, they'll be on their way.
Max Runniger to punt for San Francisco. 39.2, a little misleading. A lot of his kicks were from around the 50 and placing it inside the 20. Jarvis Williams lets the ball bounce, and it just does kick into the end zone for the touchback. And it'll be Miami's turn from their 20-yard line with 2 minutes gone here at Wembley Stadium. The 49ers and the Dolphins, American football in Great Britain. Right. Okay, we can get this. There's no hurry. This is the part of the game that the British have difficulty understanding. I'm sure because even on television they cut these things out. So the Dolphins with their first possession, and Dan Marino has his offense in the huddle. A team that has had no difficulty scoring under the guidance of Marino. Only in his 6th year, in his first 5 years, he has produced 168 passing touchdowns.
That's hard to believe.
That's a real career for most good quarterbacks. Troy Stratford, who was voted the NFL Rookie of the Year last year out of Boston College. Woody Bennett, the veteran. Mark Clayton and James Pruitt, the wide receivers, with Mark Duper still holding out. Bruce Hardy, the veteran tight end. The offensive line, Gruber, Foster, Dellenbach for the injured Dwight Stevenson, Tom Toth, and Mark Dennis for the injured Ronnie Lee. 2 minutes gone, no score. San Francisco with a couple of first downs and then had to punt. Marino comes out throwing underneath to Stratford. Good juggling catch. And a clever run afterwards. A first down out to the 34. Michael Walter, 99, ran him out of bounds. Defensively for the 49ers, after that 14-yard gain by Stratford, Pete Kugler, Michael Carter, an all-pro on the nose, and Dwayne Bohr, the pass rusher. Charles Haley hopes to give the 49ers more of a pass rush. Fawnhorst, Walter, and Cooper, Brooks and Poe, and the corners, and they'll be tested. Ronnie Lott and Jeff Fuller at safety. Kicking through a hole is Lorenzo Hampton, and Hampton, who played his college ball at the University of Florida, has a gain of about 7.
In on the center, Michael Carter working against Jeff Dellenbach. And Dellenbach, a very tall center, a power center, wants to push people around. That's not the way you want to play against Michael Carter. You've got to be very quick, you've got to be in position, and you've got to be down around his legs. I think Dellenbach's going to have more than his hands full today.
2nd and 3. Offside. Woody Bennett on a delay out close to a first down at the 44. We'll see whether or not San Francisco was drawn offside. They certainly came across as a team, all of the front linemen charging in unison.
I think Marino, using the count very wisely, was able to draw them off. That'll pick the first down up for the Miami Dolphins.
Offside against the 49ers, and a first down goes with it.
Number 95, right in the center of your screen, is off just a little quick, and I think he set off the others. Carter, eager to show himself in this game. A skinned down Carter, slimmed down. He's 285, as much as 315 through much of last year. Said he wants to play much lighter during this season.
Well, what a pick he was in the 5th round out of SMU in '84. Won the silver medal in the shot put in the '84 Olympic Games. Stratford cutting back and drawing a crowd at the 48-yard line. And Carter was part of the action, number 95, along with Pete Kugler, 67. For Miami, those that are not here, holding out contract negotiating, Mark Duper, John Giesler, and quarterback Don Strock. Nothing new with Strock. This is his golf time. Dwight Stevenson and Ronnie Lee are trying to recover from serious injuries.
That injury to Stevenson so severe because it takes the best center in the league out of this offensive line and puts someone in there who's playing in a system designed around him. Now, it's tough to compare any center to Dwight Stevenson.
2nd down and a long 7. Marino wide open is Mark Clayton, and he rolls out of bounds with a first down at the 42 of San Francisco.
You saw Chet Brooks turned absolutely around backwards by Mark Clayton. That's the problem we mentioned earlier. This is a number 3 cornerback against one of the finest receivers in the league. And where is he? Come on, Chet. That's the guy you're supposed to cover.
And here comes Brooks, number 31. Tim McKyer and Don Griffin, the 2 starting cornerbacks, holding out in tandem. They have the same agent. Todd Shell and Keena Turner both injured, both playing the same position. So number 52, George Cooper, gets the call tonight. He's from Michigan State, former USFL star. Little Troy Stratford shooting through a hole and close to the 35 of San Francisco. A gain of 6 for Stratford, who last year, a 4th-round pick, gained 619 yards rushing and led the team in catches with 48. So just like Roger Craig, Stratford led the team in rushing and in catches.
Very exciting player. Great quickness and balance. It's fun to watch a player with that kind of body control on the field. Jerry Rice has that kind of physical control. Stratford, an exciting athlete to watch.
No score, 10.5 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. Ron Davenport burrowing for a couple of yards down to about the 32, appears to be short of a first down. Don Shula was about to send in one of the young players that the Dolphins Dolphins are very excited about number 80, Farrell Edmonds. And when he comes in, you won't miss him. He is a giant tight end.
He's 6'7", 250 pounds. Whoop.
Ball at the 32-yard line. Third and a short yard for Miami. Marino often likes to go to his tight end in these situations. Looking for something big? No one open. He throws into an open spot. He was looking down the field for James Pruitt, but Tom Homo picked him up very cleverly, and Marino, rather than eating the football, elected to throw it away.
Marino looking for something very big in this short yardage situation, and with only one receiver apparently to look for, absolutely just dumped that football away. Fourth and still that half a yard to go. Miami, rather than try for the kick, is going to go for the fourth down situation.
And San Francisco, anticipating a field goal try, had made mass substitutions, and realizing they had the wrong people on the field, Bill Walsh's club calls timeout. It comes with 9:22 left in the opening quarter.
Yes. Not on fourth down, Larry. It's a big, it's a critical down. If it wasn't fourth down, I'd say do it, but
I heard him very clearly. I don't know.
Maybe it's our sound system. Is it this microphone? You want this thing moved around a little bit? Does that sound better? Okay.
Let's see, who's he got in here? What do you think he'll do here, Merlin?
I think he'll run it this time.
He was going to go for
I'd go to Woody Bennett. Who's got Bennett, Stratford in there?
Got Stratford and Bennett, yes.
I'd power it somewhere.
And he's
I'd
got
go
Ed
tackle.
Yeah, he might try it. He might try that tight end.
No, I don't think they're going to. I think they'll go right at him here.
Boy, it is dark. Live at 21 minutes past 6, British summertime, and Don Shula hoping that things warm up in terms of Miami's success. It certainly is not in character for the Dolphins and Shula to be found in the middle of the standings, and he doesn't like it the least bit.
You're wondering why they elected not to kick this. Fuad Reve's not a powerful kicker. This is probably at the limit of his range, and yet they don't expect to pick much up if they punt the ball. So they're going for it on fourth down.
Woody Bennett and Troy Stratford in the eye. That's Jim Jensen out on the wing to the right. Stratford on the toss. And it appears he may have enough, but it's going to be close. He had to get to the 31-yard line. And it is a first down as signaled by Gordon McCarter.
San Francisco has had a reputation the past few years of having ends who are defensive ends who are not particularly large, more adapted to rushing the passer than playing short yardage. You saw there they wanted to get away from Carter in the middle, get out on those defensive ends, which they did with a double team, picked up enough for the first down.
Don't see that very often anymore, though, do you? Usually you see a pass or up the middle. Not often do you see a sweep on fourth and short. It works for the Dolphins. And Marino goes back to work checking on those defensive backs. Johnny Poe, former Saint, and Chet Brooks, a rookie, on the corners. And there is that big tight end, Farrell Edmonds from Maryland. He was picked in the third round, a gain of only 3. But this guy at 6'6" or 6'7" and 250 runs about a 4.55.
Hard to believe, with wonderful tools to work with, but he is a diamond in the rough. He's got a lot of rough edges. Watch how quickly Jeff Fuller comes up to cover him. And Fuller, who's a very physical player in his own right, doesn't mess around.
just takes him to the ground.
Yeah, he's built like a linebacker. He weighs nearly 220 playing at safety. Second down and 7, Miami. No score midway through the first quarter here at Wembley Stadium in London. Marino going for it all. He has Clayton open. Mark Clayton was all by himself in the end zone. Ronnie Lott, who picked him up, that wasn't his man, trying to help out, but no goal for Marino and the Dolphins.
I think Clayton was so excited. He's got Brooks. He just buried Brooks again, turned him to the inside, turned him all the way around, is all by himself. But I got to tell you, that catch over the head, coming straight over the head, is the toughest one there is to make. But here's a guy that should make it. And you saw how angry he was. Look at him kick that yard marker.
Yeah, he'll get his share. Out of the shotgun for the first time. Marino on 3rd and 7. Jim Jensen, the all-purpose player. He'll do some backup quarterbacking, wide receiver, running back. Don Shula goes down to take a look himself, but we'll see that it's about a yard short.
Shula went for it on 4th down earlier. That looks like he may do it again.
10 yards closer. Will he send in the field goal unit? Apparently not.
That's interesting.
Comes in with Brian Kinchin, a rookie from LSU, a 12th round pick at tight end, along with Bruce Hardy. So they'll bring in the beef and try to pick up that yard again. Woody Bennett, 34. And 27, Lorenzo Hampton are the running backs. And Marino calls time. He was running out of time on the 45-second clock. Not the 30, but the 45. That's part of football 88. We'll go into that in some depth when we return.
Larry? Larry? Mr. Cirillo.
I'd like more water. Yeah, I'd like black coffee. Too much. Yeah. Ralph, can we get some coffee? Ralph is right there. Maybe he's got somebody there. Kelly's back there somewhere.
Larry? Will we have time on the turnover to play that? Will we have time on the turnover to play Walsh's priorities? Will you have a little extra time? Okay.
Yeah, I've never gotten any copies, so don't surprise me. Well, Harry's got it, I guess. Just let me have the whole bunch, Harry. I need to. Let me have all of it. Let me have all of it. No, I'm getting it. Now I do.
He does have it now.
Rain begins to fall here on the Wembley pitch with 6:51 to go in the first quarter. No score. A 4th and 1 for Miami. And again, Don Shula goes for it. Woody Bennett plowing and gets the first down inside the 20 of San Francisco. Running behind the right side of Tom Toth and Mark Dennis. Well, stay with us right after our coverage of the Miami-San Francisco game. You'll find out who is the NFL's fastest man for this year. Last year it was the Rams' Ron Brown. They'll go head-to-head in the sprints. Former champion Darrell Green, Willie Gault, the new Los Angeles Raider, Herschel Walker, and more competing to determine the Subaru NFL's fastest man. That'll be on Sports World to follow our coverage from Wembley. First down, Marino. Over the middle, complete to Ron Davenport, and he's down to the 6-yard line. And a first down, and with it a flag, and we may have a face mask.
Jim Farnhorst in on the tackle. along with Michael Walder.
Well, the foul will be tacked on half the distance from the 6. It'll be first and goal for Marino from the 3.
Face mask moves it in. Dick, I was watching Marino from behind. He's always been a quarterback who did some swaying at the line of scrimmage. But when he's in a long count, he moves back and forth. That's a fine pass, able to find some room in front of the linebackers who drop deep. But if we can get a shot of Marino, if he goes to a long count, you see him swaying like a dancer down there. He's got himself going back and forth all the time.
Really into a rhythm, almost like a good infielder waiting for the pitch and the
Please
anticipating
reset
the ball
to
being hit
30
to him.
seconds. The green clock should be running. Reset to 30.
Gordon McCarter giving some instruction that we couldn't quite pick up.
He's talking about the clock. Moving the clock up.
Marino says, although we've done well in the past, we haven't been as successful as we needed to be to win every week. Well, I guess that quote could be given to many a quarterback.
A lot of
around the
quarterbacks
NFL.
around the league, and a lot of players on this Dolphin team.
Marino's going to throw. Incomplete to Woody Bennett, and Jeff Fuller was right there to cover well. That's something Miami does as well as any team in the NFL, inside the 5, going to the pass rather than the run. And, of course, much of that testimony to Marino's quick drop and quick trigger.
When you watch Dan Marino, you really can get a feeling for how comfortable he is by watching his feet. When his feet are steady and he's not dancing, he's in rhythm. When things aren't going well, you see those feet begin to chop, and then you know that he is frustrated.
Second and goal from the 3, and it's Hampton diving into the end zone. Miami scores.
Lorenzo Hampton finished the year strong in '87. He makes a good start here in '88. An athlete who prides himself on conditioning piles into the end zone. They've got some fine halfbacks. Troy Stratford, Lorenzo Hampton, that's good depth.
30 seconds. Thank you.
Still having some problem with the clock, the 45 and the 30-second clock. It's on the 45 now. Now they switch it to the 30. And Ron Jaworski, 17, will set it up for Fuad Reveiz as it continues to rain here in London. That was an impressive 80-yard march engineered by Marino. Reveiz nails the extra point and almost drives it into the crowd, and that's a long distance to that standing room at the end of the field. 7-0 Miami, 5 to go, first quarter. How many plays there, Joe? 15.
Talk about there the fact that he comes down on his hand, which is legal. That's the only part of him that can touch the ground legally. That's a great athletic move to put his hand down and then get across.
That angle shows it better.
Yes, let's use that one right there.
And then in this sequence, you'll try to do Walsh, right? 8:01 they use. Of course, the way the clock, they haven't been stopping the clock. We ought to try to, we get a play, just an ordinary play, explain the 45-second clock. We have to set it up, you know, so you, okay.
They set it for 30 seconds on a kick. Yeah, punter kick. That was the problem. They were setting it 45 every time.
Yeah, it really was, yeah. That was a drive remindful of the 1970s of Greasy and Zonk on Warfield. 8 minutes, 80 yards, 15 plays, and Hampton, a la Jim Kick, slashing off right tackle for the score.
7-0 with 5 minutes and a second remaining in the first quarter. It continues to rain as Reveiz kicks it off. It's to Joe Cribb's side. Comes up to get it at the 16. Checked out. It was not Cribbs, but Doug DeBose, number 25, a free agent out of Nebraska. Tackled by Selwyn Brown, Miami rookie. Here's the touchdown, Merlin.
Watch Lorenzo Hampton as he goes over the top. The only part of his body that can touch the ground and not down him is his hand. He catches himself on his hand and stays off his knees until he's in the end zone. A fine athletic play by Lorenzo Hampton.
Scott Nicholas in on the tackle of that return of kickoff is the injured Dolphin, and you can see the rain. Well, we were here first of the month in July trying to get Stefan Edberg and Boris Becker off the center court stage and ducking rainstorms at Wimbledon, and we close out July here in England, and this brings a tear to my eye to see it rain again.
This is the wettest July of all time for England on record. I surely think we could have taken some of this rain in trade to some of the dry parts of our country, and it is really coming down out there now.
Well, we've had showers like this in the previous American Bowls. 2 years ago, it was the Chicago Bears beating the Cowboys, and last year the Rams over Denver. But this pitch or the field will accept the water rather well. Well, we talked about the two coaches and both feeling pressure. What are the priorities for this year? Bill Walsh of the 49ers.
Well, our strength is at quarterback. We think we have the finest quarterback in the league. In the last 5 years, he's won many, many games for us. But our problem is we have two, and there's a quarterback controversy developing. We're going to have to select between Steve Young and Joe Montana. That's a critical area for us. We think our wide receiving needs improvement. We brought in Wes Chandler and Dokie Williams. We hope that one of those people can be the kind of receiver that can go along with Jerry Rice. Our pass rush really wasn't there, especially in our playoff game this last year. It must be improved.
Now, Bill Walsh admitting that Montana and Young are in a quarterback fight, something that he had not acknowledged to this point. Young, the younger man from BYU, who played for the injured Montana late last year and was very effective.
Of course, many read into the fact that Montana was lifted from that playoff game in the middle of the third quarter. The animosity, or at least the disappointment, of Bill Walsh. Walsh has been pretty steady in his backing of Montana up until this point, and I'm not so sure, Dick, that he meant to say it's a controversy for him. I know that that's one thing he wants to avoid. Quarterback controversies tend to be debilitating for football teams.
Montana to throw. Wide open is Roger Craig, and he's hit at the 49-yard line by Bud Brown. But Craig gives the Niners a first down at the 49. 22 yards on the play, and what a versatile player Roger Craig is. He can catch it, and he can run it.
Amazing flexibility, too. You saw him take a hit. I was watching them stretch his legs the other day, lay his heel right down on his buttocks and lift his knee up off the ground about a foot. And I said, it hurt me to watch that. He is a great athlete. You're right. 1,000 yards rushing and receiving. The only guy ever to do that in the NFL.
In the same season. Nothing there as Brian Sauché clogs it up for Craig. It'll be second down and 10.
One of the areas that Shula has wanted to improve, the defensive line, the middle of this defensive line. He feels good about Sauché, says Turner is coming along, and Boza, his #1 draft pick at that right end, a guy that they feel is really going to come on. That's number 97. Offerdahl, of course, in there on the tackle from his linebacking position in the Pro Bowl the last 2 years.
As you saw, Miami third from the bottom in defense last year. That'll be an incomplete pass at the 48-yard line as William Judson over there for the Dolphins, along with John Offerdahl, the linebacker. Roger Craig, one of the few he did not collect.
Ahmad Rashad said it earlier when he talked about the fact that on this Miami team, there aren't many jobs that aren't up for grabs. And William Judson's been told, look, if you can play and do the job, you'll stay. If you can't, we're going to find somebody who can. He's out there in a very serious mood at the beginning of this ball game.
And one of those men is their 5th-round pick out of BYU, Rodney Thomas. They like him a lot. Third down, Montana. Oh, Tom Rathman, and he was wide open. They cleared out the area with Craig, and Rathman had no one within 12, 15 yards of him. And instead of an easy first down for San Francisco, Max Runiger and the punting team comes on. As you get another look at Roger Craig, who backed up Jarvis Redwine and Mike Rozier at Nebraska, was picked in the second round in '83. And has he delivered? Leading the team in rushing and receiving. Led all running backs in receiving the last 3 years in the NFL. Flag is down. This is Scott Schwades from Syracuse, who is hit at the 16-yard line. 34-yard punt, but a flag is down.
Maybe that we had a 49er moving too quickly.
No, it's against Miami. It would not be good enough for first down. It was 4th down and 8. We'll see how the 49ers look at this, whether they'll take the coverage right there.
12 men on the field on the receiving team. Penalty decline, 1st and 10.
Well, the rains are easing a bit here at Wembley Stadium. And we understand that seeking cover has been Ahmad Rashad. We'll get to Ahmad right after this play. El Marino and the Dolphins Frey Cuttle at the 16-yard line with 3 minutes remaining in the opening quarter, and Miami in front 7-0 on a Lorenzo Hampton short run. Stratford. Oh, is he clever. Up to the 25-yard line, a 9-yard pickup. Let's go to Ahmad.
All right, I'm here with my friend Robert from Wimbledon?
Yeah, near the tennis court.
Okay, but now you like the Miami Dolphins, huh? 15 plays, 80 yards, you got to be impressed.
Very good, very good. It's nice to see them live for a change.
How did you become a Dolphin fan?
Just watching the sport over on TV for that last 4 years. Mind you, the weather's a little bit different from Miami weather.
And you picked Miami out of all the teams?
Exactly. Because they just got the best personalities, and obviously they got.
All right, talking about a couple of personalities, let's go to those two upstairs.
2nd and 1. And it's Woody Bennett, the veteran from Miami, out to the 40-yard line. Well, Bennett, 244 pounds, finding a hole and shooting forward for 15 yards. That would be his best run of all last year.
They're slanting inside. Carter takes himself out of the play, and Dwayne Board driven all the way across to open things up inside for Woody Bennett. Board, as we mentioned, not a huge defensive end, has trouble at the point of attack. He certainly did on that play.
Clayton to the right, Pruitt to the left. First down, Marino to throw. Underneath to Bennett. Saw Woody protect the football as he got hammered. 23, Ed Berry from Utah State, a 7th-round pick of the Packers in '86. First man there, a 4-yard pickup. Well, it's a time, and already here, Merlin, as we come to the end of the first quarter, we're going to see more and more players use. There are nearly 90 men in uniform for both teams.
Kind of like a college game. Reminds me of those Rose Bowl games.
That's right. Double numbers are involved. 2nd and 6 for Marino. I understand Scott Nicholas, it was a knee injury. Marino going deep for Pruitt. He's open. And then Berry comes back to knock it away. Berry had been beaten, but he closed quickly, and as the ball hung just a bit, he was able to knock it free.
Right at the end, as he timed it, that ball underthrown. Pruitt certainly had his man beaten well, but Berry did a good job of sensing that the ball was arriving. Able to turn around, almost got his hands on the football.
Berry was on the San Diego Charger replacement team last year, trying to fight for a spot in the 49er secondary.
You mentioned offensive strength. These two teams own the last 4 passing titles in the NFL.
And Marino on 3rd and 6 out of the shotgun. He's got Pruitt wide open again. Out of bounds at the San Francisco 28. And the Dolphins are exploiting the deep defense of San Francisco. The gaps are wide between receiver and man supposedly covering.
Well, so far, we talked about the cornerback situation and the weaknesses in these two secondaries. Marino doing a great job of taking advantage of San Francisco. Where's Chet Brooks? Cornerback, not anywhere to be seen. Ronnie Lott, the man who finally comes over along with Tom Holmoe. But Brooks apparently made a mistake on that play. I would guess it's him because the other two are veterans, and I would likely think it's the rookie.
Woody Bennett gets a call on first down to the 25-yard line, a pickup of 2. As we're in the final minute of this opening quarter, Miami engineered an 80-yard drive to score on the 3-yard run by Lorenzo Hampton, leading 7-0 and moving the ball again. This one started back at the Dolphin 16. Credit Fawnhorst and Walter with the tackle on the last play.
Marino moving the ball well against a defense that ranked up the best statistics in the league last year. So that'll give you an idea of the quality of the competition here.
It's Troy Stratford, and the footing giving way, but there was Pete Kugler, the veteran from Penn State, to nail him. Pete, who played on that great Nittany Lion team with Matt Millen, Bruce Clark, were other defensive tackles. Down the final seconds, and that'll be the last play of this first quarter. Don Shula and the Miami Dolphins enjoying a 7-0 advantage and driving for more. The end of the quarter. Miami 7, San Francisco 0.
Okay, let me just move forward here, huh?
Careful this thing doesn't go.
Okay, all right, I'll sit easy. All right, how about that? There's a funny story. I told a story about the towels last year. You remember they ordered 750, and the guy said 750 towels. They asked me what happened this year. It was different.
Welcome back live from Wembley. That's nearly 7 o'clock London time. Last year you had a story about the man who was in charge of the towels, and there was an order for 750
for each team. He said, 750 towels, mate. What are you going to do? Well, this year they brought their own towels, but they did get a look when they ordered 700 pounds of ice for each team. Now, if you've ever been to England and asked for ice, they bring you one ice cube. 700 pounds for each team, man?
That would cover a pub's request for an entire year. Dan Marino and the Dolphins leading 7-0, 3rd down and 9 as we open the second quarter. Ball at the 27 of San Francisco. Marino down the middle, and it's incomplete. And Ronnie Lott lowered the boom on James Pruitt.
And you saw Pruitt look to the inside. Lott and Fuller, two of the most physical safeties in the NFL. Watch right at the end. You'll see Pruitt looking. He knows Lott's coming. I'll tell you, a tough safety can intimidate receivers down in that secondary. Pruitt, not an easy receiver to intimidate, but Lott can intimidate a bunch of them. Ooh, there you can see why.
Dolphins will go for the field goal, a 45-yard attempt. Jaworski to hold for Fuad Reveiz, his longest ever 52 yards. And he hits it. Reveiz good from 44 officially, and the Dolphins add 3 to their total on the first play of the second quarter. It's Miami 10, San Francisco 0.
Larry, we got Bubba Paris in. Let's get that shot of him on this down, because he won't be in too long.
And the other is the since Shula talks about defense, you could use the Shula thing even though Miami doesn't have the ball.
Yes, you could.
Right.
In fact, you want to come to that early. It'd be good to get that in. Paris may not be in. We're second quarter, but if he is, even if he's not, get him on this sideline sometime.
Yep, got him. Yep. Flagler and Sidney, and 40 is Darrell Wallace from Missouri.
Live from London, today's game being brought to you by Coors Light. There's no slowing down with a silver bullet. It's the right beer now. By AT&T, the right choice. And by Acura, precision crafted performance, exclusively at your Acura dealer. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen, Wembley Stadium, the site of the Olympic Games 40 years ago, 1948, just about this time of the year. Wembley Stadium hosting the Olympics. The kickoff. Jones, a tight end, takes it on the fly up short and carries it out to the 29-yard line. Miami leading 10-0. Let's look at the official statistics in the first quarter.
Certainly favoring the Miami Dolphins, who've done a much better job offensively. And look at that possession time. So far, Marino's troops doing a much better job than Montana's. We have an injured player down on the field.
It's a 49er, and with a training staff covering his number, we can't pick it up for you at the moment.
The pick so far in the game would seem to me that the more emotional team, the Miami Dolphins. And perhaps that the result of Shula's approach to this training camp. He has been hard-jawed all through this training camp. Players, I think, responding to that. Very serious in this ball game.
It is the man who returned the kickoff, Brent Jones, who's injured, being helped to his feet. And as he leaves the field, let's go to the Miami side. And Don Shula, we heard Bill Walsh's priorities. Shula going into 88. What does he need?
Defense. We got to improve the defense. Dan Marino is our quarterback, and everybody knows that he's done the most outstanding job in the National Football League for the last 5 years. We got to support him with some good players on offense, give him protection to throw the ball, a better running game. But defense is our top priority. We have to get a better pass rush. Our secondary has to do a better job on coverage. We think that we've got some good young people coming into our defense. We felt that last year we had improved, but this year we got to get a lot better in order to be the kind of football team that I want to be.
Young is in at quarterback, and he goes to Jerry Rice, incomplete at midfield. So we see Steve Young for the first time for Montana. Well, no question left after Don Shula made that statement. D as in Dolphins, as in defense. In order for Miami to return to a serious playoff contender, he must make that defense play better. Can't be 26th in the league.
He figures as long as he's got Marino, the offense is going to click, but they've got to hold the score down on the other side of the line.
Steve Young, number 8 at quarterback, 6'2", 200-pounder from BYU. And he can run the football. And he's got room to run. Turner can't catch him. And Young out of bounds with a first down just across the 40.
Young's speed, that of a cornerback. He can really pick him up and lay him down, but that speed and that ability to run, sometimes a curse for a quarterback. He has had a problem learning to sit and be patient in that pocket. Bill Walsh talks to him constantly. One of the problems you have with these two quarterbacks, Montana, a classic pocket passer, although he does know how to scramble, and Young, a mover, wants to move. They need different systems to be effective, and you can really only keep one system in at a time.
Plus one is right-handed, one left-handed, and that makes more of a difference than one would think. This is Roger Craig breaking into the clear and finally stopped at the 46 of Miami. Another San Francisco first down. Bud Brown bumped him out of bounds. Good block by Guy McIntyre, number 62.
Good speed to the outside. Craig running so well. You see him putting the little move on to set up the block by Sapolo there, who gets a piece of a second man. Not Sapolo, McIntyre, Guy McIntyre. Some fine guards on this San Francisco team. Good strength inside that line.
49ers led the NFL in rushing yards, led in offense, led in defense. First time in 10 years. The last time a team led both offensively and defensively, Dallas went on to win the Super Bowl.
Some confusion in the offensive line. It looked like one of the offensive linemen lifted up.
The 49ers 13-2 last year, the best record in the NFL, and yet that last game took away all that the entire year represented when they were beaten by Minnesota in the playoffs.
We talked about expectations. They really felt that they were going to win the Super Bowl last year.
Right tackle on the offense.
79 Harris Barton lifting up on that play. I think the thing that embarrassed them most was that it was at home. And they just did not play well against the Minnesota Vikings. They really felt they were going to win that one and go on to the Super Bowl.
And the only hope they got was from Young, replacing Montana. He goes deep for Rice. And look at the hands of Jerry Rice as he out-wrestles the defense at the 10. Takes it right away from Paul Langford. 41 yards on the play.
Jerry Rice owns that football when it's in the air. He's well covered on this play. Langford had done a good job. Young throws it to him anyway. Now watch this. Rice just goes up and takes the football by position away from Langford. Langford had done about as good a job as you can do covering man-to-man on Jerry Rice. But Rice still went up and took the football away from him.
Two tight ends, John Franks and Ron Heller. It's first and goal from the 10. Young gets about 7 before Hugh Green, the veteran, number 55, can drag him down.
With Young's speed, the quarterback bootleg becomes an almost impossible play to stop. But it was one of his most embarrassing plays last year. They put in a special play where Montana came off the field to fake a problem with his helmet. Young was supposed to go in, quickly call a play and run the bootleg. He went on the field, called the wrong formation, ran the wrong direction, and when he came off the field, had to hide from Walsh, who wanted his scalp. But he was successful in picking up some good yardage on that play.
And he's moved the team well. 11 yards, 14 yards, 41 to Rice, and then 8 yards on his own scramble. Second and goal. Looking for Rice. There he is. And broken up nicely by the Dolphins. Paul Langford got a hand on the pass and denies Rice the touchdown. The thing about Jerry Rice, you look at last year, and we'll look at him again here at number 80. A touchdown catch in every game except the playoffs.
Langford, again, one of those players red flagged by Shula in that Dolphins secondary. Do the job, or we'll find someone who will. Played very well against a tough receiver. I think the toughest receiver man for man, especially if you lay off of him in the NFL. I don't think there's anyone that could really cover him consistently one-on-one in the NFL.
Rathman and Craig split behind Young. Third and goal. Rathman, touchdown. Well done by Steve Young. After a play-action fake, Rathman threw the line and then circled into the end zone, and Young, under pressure, found him neatly.
And if you listen to conversation at the top of this show, we talked about the fact that Bill Walsh has admitted to a quarterback controversy in San Francisco. This could certainly bode well for those who support Steve Young in his bid to take the #1 job away from Joe Montana.
Galliano holding for Ray Wersing, the veteran place kicker. And the extra point is good as it starts to rain rather heavily again here at Wembley Stadium. So the 49ers, a quick drive engineered by Steve Young. It's 10-7.
You want to show it to me quickly?
Well, that was an impressive drive.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. But he's going to give you good stuff, too. that he had 2 running plays, did he? Yeah, that made.
Okay. I just wanted to talk about his size. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Good. The graphics are nice and clear with that black shadow. Craig, both from Nebraska. They never played in the same backfield there. He was a sophomore when Craig was a senior, but now teamed together as the starters behind either Montana or Young, and Rathman, the 2-yard catch for the 49ers score. Bull of a man.
He is tough and a fine athlete. Both catch the ball well.
Wersching, long spinner to Lorenzo Hampton in the end zone. Hampton at the 20 and tripped at the 25-yard line. Number 98, Bill Romanowski, rookie linebacker, made the tackle.
Even on this touchdown play, you'll see one of the things that Walsh will be talking constantly to Steve Young about. He floats in that pocket, floating to the outside, but still with the patience to look for and find Rathman, 44. But watch him here. Little rollout. Picks it up. Good pressure coming from Hugh Green, number 55, who's all over him, but still with the presence and the ability to get that ball on target.
Took them 71 yards in 6 plays, and Young ran 2 of those for 19 of the yards. The long pass to Rice, the key. Ron Jaworski is the new quarterback, a reverse, and it's James Pruitt, who was smothered at the 31-yard line as the Dolphins all but running into each other as Jaworski was hit as he handed off.
A Chinese fire drill, almost the same play we saw to open the game with Jerry Rice. A flanker reverse. Jaworski back, hands the ball to Stratford, but good penetration by one of the San Francisco 49ers. That's 76 Dwayne Board, who just came flying in there and broke that play to pieces. Penetration very often destroys the timing of a play, as it did then.
Nevertheless, Miami gets 6. It's 2nd and 4. Jaworski to Ron Davenport, a yard at best. Jim Fawnhorst, one of the many in on the tackle for San Francisco. As we take a look at Ron Jaworski, who started with the Los Angeles Rams, was your teammate, Merlin, as a rookie back in '73. Then, of course, his big years with Philadelphia in 1980. The Eagles Super Bowl year, they lost to the Raiders. Jaworski holding most of the Philadelphia records. He's been a solid player and did not play last year. Watching him in practice, there is nothing wrong with Jaworski's arm. He can still drill it.
He can really zing that ball, and there are those who are wondering if maybe Don Strock isn't cooking his own goose by sitting out, because Jaworski is a veteran who can lead this team and fill that backup slot very, very well.
3rd down and 2, and Hampton does not get there. Good defense by the 49ers.
Michael Carter, number 95, the finest nose man and the toughest man to handle inside, I think, in the NFL. He just bulled to the outside and broke that play to pieces all by himself.
His best in the shot put was 71 4 3/4. I asked him if he could throw that in Seoul, would it be good enough to win a medal? He said, a medal, that'd win the gold medal. He says, mark it down. 71 3+ will be good enough. That's from the silver medalist. So Miami, Reggie Roby will have to punt for the first time.
He almost looks like a shot putter at times.
Deep is number 82, John Taylor. Taylor at the 21. Dragged down by Bob Brudzinski, the veteran on the special teams. Brudzinski, the tackler at the 25. 46-yard punt and a 5-yard return. Timeout, 10 minutes left, first half.
We're 15 straight, man. Did you get a clever one?
It's going to be a bad sign if you're Bob Brudzinski.
didn't you? And you're on the special teams.
Although I think he's going to stay around. Really? He's a teacher. Let's look at Hugh Green. Yeah. Let's put the camera. Let's talk about Hugh a little bit.
How about Ahmad and Minchner? You want to use that? Well, that's pretty long, isn't it? Almost need to use that in an open timeout.
Larry, if we get a long yardage situation here, let's take a shot of Soche moving out to defensive end. Okay.
You got Chandler in there, and we got Rice still in there, Young. So he's keeping basically his first team
receivers. He's changed the line though. He's changed the line. He's got Thomas and.
Butters is in for home. For Bosa?
Yeah, Butters is in for Bosa.
San Francisco opens play after the punt, and this is number 32, Terrence Flagler, who was the top pick of the 49ers last year from Clemson. And the entertainment down on the standing room end.
Warm things up a little bit.
I'm not sure that I don't want to even practice that one. Where's Ahmad? I thought maybe he might try that.
He's got a fire down there somewhere. He's sitting around the fire, I know.
Live from London at past 7 o'clock in the evening. Steve Young, the quarterback for the 49ers, looks at second down and 8. The give to Flagler. Out to the 32-yard line. That'll leave him 3 yards shy of a first down. Hugh Green, number 55.
Hugh Green basically has been out of the lineup the last 2 seasons. Knee injury 2 years ago, re-injured the knee last year. He has been the high point of camp so far, certainly for this defense and perhaps for this whole Miami team. An outstanding, whatever off-season program he was on, and I guess it was his secret. I'm all for it. Well, if he can stay healthy, and I say if, because once a veteran gets into that injury cycle, it's tough to break. If he can stay healthy, he is a dominant player. He'll really help this defense.
Needing 3 yards for a first down. Flagler has it, and more. 50, 40, Green saves the touchdown. Well, that'll tell you something about Hugh Green and Terrence Flagler. They want to take a long look at him tonight. After last season, when he played in only 3 games and rushed for just 11 yards. But Green, lined up on this side of the field, will actually find the angle and make the play.
His responsibility, containment on this side. But one of the things you don't do defensively is give up. Excellent speed and that desire to make the tackle, take him all the way across the field. 2 coaches will be happy with that one, but there will be some very unhappy coaches at what happened at the point of attack defensively.
38 yards for Terrence Flagler. And a first down at the Miami 30. This is Rathman up the middle for 3. And into the arms of number 50, Jackie Shipp, a number 1 pick out of Oklahoma 4 years ago. A reminder to our viewers, we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player today's game. That will be announced at the conclusion of this contest from Wembley Stadium.
Talking about the point of attack, they were running at the right side of that Miami defense. Rick Graff, second-year linebacker over there, still in the learning process, although he is playing much better than he did last year. He is the kind of player that they really need to have come on to help this defense.
Miami leading San Francisco 10-7, but the 49ers threaten. It's Young. Incomplete. He had his man open, John Taylor, but a little too tall with the throw. Taylor, who makes his living in the offseason as a car salesman up in Oakland, California for Reggie Jackson Chevrolet. Yep, a home run hitting star of the A's, the Angels, the Yankees, is the boss of John Taylor in the offseason.
Well, when a quarterback stretches you up into the air like that, you go and tell him, hey, I'll give you a deal on a car if you won't throw me any like that.
A loner.
Boy, I'll tell you, those are acres when you get one of those shots in the back.
Third down 7 from the Miami 27. Incomplete, intended for the tight end, Ron Heller. And so 4th and 7. Lifford Hobley was the cover man, number 29 for the Dolphins. On comes Ray Wersching, the old-time San Francisco scorer.
And it looks like they may go. Well, no, they looked like for a minute they were going to send Young back out onto the field. You see what I mean about different styles? Young's pass is mostly coming from a rollout to his left. Montana, of course, liking those pocket passes. That puts a lot of pressure on an offensive team to have enough plays to satisfy those two different styles offensively.
Bill Walsh going for the tie. Don't understand why they're letting the clock run down.
Maybe to reset it at 30.
And too much time against San Francisco, and they have Wersching out there. Does he want to try a longer field goal? This is a puzzling penalty taken by San Francisco. So they...
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
And you want your practice at trying to hit long ones, but there was going to be a 45-yarder anyway. That's Scott Nicholas, and
that's not good news. One of the things you don't want to do is lose your horses here in a preseason game. Nicholas penciled in as a backup linebacker, but he's a good special teamer. And
well, the punting team comes on now after the field goal would have been 52 yards after the penalty. So a shot at a 45-yarder turned aside by perhaps confusion.
I don't understand that. Maybe Ahmad knows what they were doing.
I'm sure he does.
I'll bet he does.
So this is Runiger, the veteran kicker, South Carolina. He and Wersching are married to sisters. The kicking team of the 49ers, they are close in more ways than one. Part of the family.
He's being challenged, too, by Barry Helton.
Runiger hits it high, lofting it inside the 10. And it's going to be well covered by the 49ers at the 1-yard line.
That's what Max Runiger does best, control the football. He knows where he's going to put it.
Jim Faunhurst and Darren Como were down there. Let's go to Ahmad.
All right, Dick, just to show you how knowledgeable these British fans are, I'm so impressed. I've got some fans here that have been sitting out in the rain, and this is a little test here. How many downs do you get to make a first down?
3, I reckon.
3, he reckons. Okay. How many points do you get for a field goal?
No clue.
She has no clue. So what about a touchdown? How many points do you get for a touchdown?
5.
5 points for a touchdown. Now here's the topper. How many points for a punt?
So much
But are
for...
you having a good time?
Brilliant.
They're having a good time.
Jaworski throwing out of his end zone. A dangerous throw. Farrell Edmonds and Jeff Fuller a flag down. They have gotten there too soon. I don't think that some of the top game show hosts are really in any trouble with Ahmad. But Ahmad, you are good at the quiz mastering.
Here the team's down.
Pass interference.
So there's only going to be 47. Once they more? Hello?
We're back to you, Ahmad. We just wondered if you're ready for Wheel of Fortune.
No, I'm actually explaining to the people how the game is played. And I was a pretty good player. See, when I used to play, you guys go ahead here. I'm going to tell them about it.
Let's shut off the microphone now for sure.
I've heard this story.
10-7. The 49ers had a shot at tying it, but took a 5-yard delay of game and then elected to punt. First down, that pass interference was only about a 1-yard penalty. This is Davenport trying to get out of his own end zone and out to maybe the 3. Faunhurst in on the tackle along with Charles Haley and 93 Glover.
49ers moving a lot of new bodies onto the field.
Second down, give them about a yard. Second down and 9. Jaworski. And a fine throw to Freddie Banks. Banks from Liberty College is the fastest of the Dolphins. They say he runs a 4.25. Played at Cleveland in '86. He was an 8th-round pick of the Browns in '85.
Like a slot machine. We mentioned those cornerbacks early. That was a move on Poe on the right-hand side. Johnny Poe came out of New Orleans, played some football there, picked up by San Francisco after 7 years in New Orleans. But he is not uptight on those receivers. Plenty of room for the first down pick by Jaworski.
But they brought the ball back, Merlin. Apparently, he did not have control as he went out of bounds. So it's third down. And that'll be the 49ers offside. A free play for Jaworski over the middle to Pruitt, incomplete through his hands.
93 Glover, the man who was offsides, moving too quickly. That will give him another shot at third down. Let's go back and look at the previous play. Johnny Poe trying to cover Banks. Banks, who can run that brilliant 4.25, would you believe a 4.25? Here's the toss, and look how far. Oops. Well, we see the end of the play there, and apparently there was not control as he was rolling out of bounds.
Now the rain starting to take its toll, at least in some of the receptions. You saw that last ball squirt right through the hands of Pruitt.
If you're wondering why that field looks torn up and discolored, the Michael Jackson Tour had plywood covering this field for 10 days, and that'll destroy even the best of fields.
After the penalty, this leaves 3rd and 4. Trouble. Stratford can't get out of it. He's down at the 6-yard line, and lucky that the Dolphins didn't cough up the ball, and Ronnie Lott, 42, right in the thick of it.
Misfire on the shotgun draw. Jeff Fuller on the blitz, and this play has nowhere to go. Here he comes from the outside, and they're trying to hand that ball up forward. Stratford, seeing no room inside, made a dangerous move, decided he was going to go the polar route, and there was nowhere to go.
John Taylor drifts back to return for San Francisco at his 35. Oh, he's really giving Roby's foot a lot of credit.
Roby has had him in orbit over here in London, but I don't know if he can kick it that far, especially when it's raining like this.
And Taylor sprinting up to get it.
Yeah, he gave him too much room.
And with the roll out of bounds at the Miami 48-yard line, San Francisco trailing 10-7, a 42-yard kick by Roby. Remember, right after our game from Wembley, you'll learn the 1988 NFL's fastest man in the field, Darrell Green, who won it a couple of years ago. The brilliant defensive back of the Washington Redskins, Willie Gault, the new Los Angeles Raider wide receiver, Herschel Walker, the Cowboys, many more to compete to see who will take the crown won by Ron Brown of the Rams last year. That will follow us on NBC Sports World. So Young takes over at the 47 of Miami. Play action. Wide open is Taylor. And Taylor is to the 11-yard line. 36 yards. Young had much too much time and drilled a strike. Taylor right in stride.
Just talked about his fine speed, and we talked earlier about the fact that this Miami defensive secondary has not done a great job in coverage. But when you give a quarterback this much time and you can pull up those safeties and hold those linebackers with a good fake, which they did, it's devastating. Langford tries a rolling tackle, an embarrassing attempt to tackle there to give him some extra yardage.
First down at the Miami 11. Flagler. The 7, maybe the 6-yard line. Clifford Cobley, 29. J.T. Turner in on the tackle.
One thing this Miami defense did, even though they remained in 26th place in the NFL last year, as they were in the previous year, was to improve on long plays, on bombs given up. And that is exactly the kind of play that they have been trying to eliminate. Kind of tough when you leave a quarterback standing that long all by himself.
San Francisco threatening to take the lead. Miami is led throughout 7-0, 10-0, 10-7. But the 49ers
give is to Sidney. Harry Sidney, a fullback, and he's close to a first down at the 2 before veteran Doug Betters, number 75, can make the hit. Sidney from Kansas University, a free agent of the Seahawks back in 1981.
Betters with those long arms plays better against the run these days than against the pass. He spun around on that play, but still got a good piece of Sidney. Sidney using some good moves of his own to squeeze out some extra yardage. Third and a little less than a yard to go. First down possible here inside the goal line.
Third down and 1 for a first down, 2 for the touchdown. Flagler and Sidney behind Young. And that'll be short of a first down, but might be a first down, as Gordon McCarter will extricate the ball carrier and spot the ball. It was Tom Rathman who came in. Rathman, who caught the touchdown pass from Young earlier, and it appears he has enough for the first down. So 4 shots from inside the 1 for San Francisco. Steve Young running the team very effectively. He's the great-great-great-grandson of Brigham Young, the Mormon leader. Flagler, touchdown, but a flag is down. Linesman tossing a flag. We'll see against whom. Illegal procedure, San Francisco. So instead of 6 points, they get 5 yards marked against them.
Hate to make that kind of mistakes. Those are the toughest yards in football.
Right side of the offensive line. 2 or more players. Repeat the down.
You give up 5 yards down there, that's like 15 out of the open field. There's no room to operate down there. It'll be first down and about 6 yards to go for the touchdown.
Saw Joe Montana, number 16, signaling in the plays from the sidelines to Steve Young. First and goal from the 6-yard line.
They've got a nut out on the field. Well, he's going to go say hello to someone.
Meanwhile, the play, Flagler on the sweep. Touchdown.
Well, they didn't look that tough on that play, did they? I said tough yardage, but Miami not doing well defensively against that one.
The 49ers take the lead as Terrence Flagler circles the right side for the score.
Running right, Kraft 58 out there, Langford out there, Shipp out there. They had the folks out there, but nobody making a play.
Bruce Colley, 69, just buried his man with the lead block. Here's Ray Wersching to try the extra point.
Well, I guess he's going to talk to the Bobbies.
It is good. One of the things that still is a bit amusing about the way the British fans see our game is the way they cheer an extra point, something that we take for granted, but their game, of course, is more kicking than running and passing, and they appreciate a well-aimed, long boot, as Wersching provides. It's 14-10. If you look at Flagler,
they wanted to give him a good look over here, and he certainly has responded well on that drive.
47 yards in the drive and only 5 plays.
I heard him say, "Hi, Dad." I met a number of the Miami Dolphin wives the other night, Dick, and they said, "Could you please say hello? We got young babies at home. Could you say hello to them?" I said, "I don't know if I can, but Dick knows how to say hello to those young babies. I'll have him do it for you." How would you do that, Dick?
Well, I think you've done it very well, Pops. It's been a family outing for both teams and their wives. Miami Dolphins and the 49ers have brought over their song girls, and they've been vigorously entertaining the fans here at Wembley since long before the kickoff, prior to the kickoff. Wersching to Hampton at the 5. Running up the back of his own man, and a flag goes down as Hampton is tackled at the 27-yard line. And one would suspect that's a block in the back committed by one of the Dolphins.
Illegal use of the hands. So 10 yards marked off to the 17-yard line.
Illegal use of hands, number 53 on the receiving team during the return. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Penalties not a factor, although San Francisco 7 for just 29 yards.
Well, the 49er defenders getting a lot of work tonight. Charles Haley, they've asked him now to play strictly at that linebacking position. He picked up 15 pounds. He was playing up and down last year. Now he's just a linebacker. He's dropped some weight. They want to see if he can play his way into that number 1 spot.
Jaworski, the quarterback for Miami. That's Pruitt in motion. And the give to Troy Stratford. Not much there. 49ers defense been tough here in the second quarter. Number 99, Michael Walter from Oregon. Oregon's been a good school for San Francisco through the years. The Ducks have provided many fine players. Quillen, the center. Stover is not here. He's injured. Dave Wilcox, back in your era, fine linebacker. And Walter, who originally was drafted by the Cowboys in '83. Second down and 8.
Oh, Haley missed him. Oh,
Stratford, and looks like there is a little piece of the helmet there, and there goes the flag.
that last play is exactly what George Seifert, the defensive coordinator, wants from Charles Haley. That blitz from the weak side linebacker. He came through all by himself. Got a piece of the quarterback, but couldn't bring him down.
Well, Michael Walter got a piece of the helmet as well, and with it goes a first down on the 5-yard penalty, as we're one play away from the 2-minute warning. San Francisco leading Miami 14-10.
You'll see the face mask here, right there. Number 99 got a piece of that mask. The inadvertent penalty is the 5-yarder.
There's Walter, who was called the most improved player on the 49ers last year. So they took it down to the 2-minute warning. And we have a timeout here at Wembley Stadium in London, 14-10, 49ers. Was there a countdown there? Anything? I didn't hear any. Get any. Larry?
Will the clock operator set the clock at 2 minutes even?
Larry?
2 minutes even remaining in the half.
Yeah. Yeah. But I didn't get any countdown that time. That could be. Okay. So with 2 minutes to go in this first half, and San Francisco in front 14-10. Ron Jaworski, the backup quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, that seems strange to say after all of his years with the Eagles, has a first down at his own 28-yard line. And he goes long for Pruitt. Broken up by the rookie Chet Brooks, who was the 11th round pick of the 49ers from Texas A&M, went to high school in Dallas. And for a 303rd pick in the draft, they feel he's got a chance.
Well, he certainly had some tough sledding early in this ball game. I'm sure he's thrilled to be able to make a good play.
some nightmares in the first quarter as Marino picked on him rather extensively. But an excellent play there and good coverage by Chet Brooks.
Tim McKyer and Don Griffin have not signed as yet for San Francisco, and Torrey Nixon, who would have been playing at one of the corners, is injured. So Chet Brooks thrown into the fire in this first preseason game. Jim Jensen is the up back with Jaworski. Complete to Schwades, and a first down at the 46 of Miami. Scott Schwades, who did not catch a pass last year, he was primarily on kick return, 17 yards on the play.
Confidence builder. Important for that young man.
Jaworski handling the tough snap. Underneath he goes incomplete to Jensen, and a flag down. And it may be holding.
Roy Foster
trying to fight off the on-rushing Glover, 93. Clock 1:29. That clock isn't always present here at Wembley, so we can't always tell you exactly. Those are the only ones, and that's a message board as well. And that'll be a tough penalty against the Dolphins.
Foster trying to work on Michael Carter, number 95, and he is a load for any two offensive linemen.
Number 61, offense. Repeat first down.
61, Roy Foster, the left guard for Miami, and Michael Carter had stunted to his right from that nose tackle position and just blew right past Jeff Dellenbach.
Foster, 61, who was a Pro Bowler in 85 and 86. He followed Bob Kuchenberg at that guard position. Good to see Coach. He was here with a group from Miami watching the game.
They're hoping that Foster will come back. Did not have that great year last year that they need from him. They lit a fire under him this year as well.
Triple right formation. Jaworski goes the other way. That's incomplete. Caught on a hop by Stratford. And Jaworski had to hustle that ball upfield as he was under pressure.
I talked to Jeff Dellenbach. If we can look at Dellenbach, a very tall center, 6'5", long-legged. That's difficult because he has to get down low to snap that football. He was telling me that he was describing the way these quarterbacks take the football. It was kind of like describing the way fish take a bait. He said Jaworski just snaps that ball. He said you never question it. He said with Marino, you never know whether he's got it or not. But he said with Jaworski, it just click, and he's gone.
Now this will be the long handoff.
He's had trouble with these, too. He snapped a bunch of them over the head last year.
Flags are all over the place, and Jaworski is, too. Finally ripped to the ground by Dwayne Board.
I think we've got an offside on San Francisco, though, unless a Miami offensive lineman is moving. There were several Frisco linemen in the neutral zone.
Offside. Number 76, defense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Yeah, the historic Wembley Stadium is decorated with many flags along the rim of the stadium, and I guess appropriately for the preseason, it's decorated well with yellow flags on the floor of Wembley. The learning process beginning on this weekend, and of course all the teams will be involved in this next weekend in the NFL. Jaworski to Pruitt, breaks one tackle but can't get away at the 47-48 yard line. Clock running, 1:08, 1:07 to go. 8 yards on that play. It'll be third down and about 7 for Miami, trailing 14-10. Jaworski trying to muster something in the final minute here of the first half. Down the middle, Schwades. And he's to the 32-yard line before Ed Berry can make the tackle. Don Shula's club is now in field goal range, but they're looking for more with 43 seconds and a timeout called by the Dolphins.
You mentioned the confidence level for Schwades. He had such a tough rookie season. He needs to catch some passes and get going here. Good pattern. Enough time for Jaworski. And you notice how Jaworski just lofted that ball over the defenders. Schwades showing a good speed and toughness, not afraid to catch over the middle. And of course, that's one of the ways that you measure wide receivers.
Schwades, the all-time receiver in Syracuse history. He left the Orangemen with 139 catches, but did not have a reception last year.
He had one 4.5-minute period against Buffalo last year that Shula said was the worst he'd ever seen a player have. Dropped a pass, then fumbled a punt, then fumbled a kickoff, left the kid in tears, and
it's hard for a young man because he needs to lean on that confidence. He did not have it. It really hurt him. He's come back. He said, I forgot last year to put it behind me. Well, there's a loyal Miamian.
And it's nice to know if his mother's watching that he's okay.
Yeah, that's right. Is he really, Dick? Oh.
14-10 San Francisco. 43 seconds remain in the half. Jaworski under a blitz. Underneath he goes to Jim Jensen, short yardage. And the Dolphins will quickly get back to the line of scrimmage as the clock runs 34-33.
Several plays called. Jaworski sets Jensen to his right this time. Shotgun again.
Two receivers to the right, two to the left. He's going deep for Pruitt. There's Ronnie Lott to break it up. In fact, Lott in excellent position to make the interception. Another flag is down, and it's holding against Miami. 19 seconds left in the half.
Poor play and a poor execution by Jaworski. That ball really up for grabs. Lott almost came away with the interception, and the 10-yard penalty will take them out of field goal range. So they're going to have to try and get back far enough for Reveiz to try a shot or perhaps go for the end zone here.
There you see Lott, the number 1 pick out of Southern California, the 49ers in 1981. He says, everyone thinks I've been around forever.
Hands to the face. Number 77 offense. Penalty accepted and 2
Merlin, it's kind of like your story. I think that when you're a Pro Bowler, 6 of the first 7 years in the league, and you make such a hit as a rookie, you have the sense as a fan that a player has been around longer than normal, because usually it's 3-4 years before that kind of notoriety is earned.
Well, that's very true. And you know, the one thing that amazes me about Lott, his enthusiasm. He still loves this game, and he's excited about practices as well as the game.
He's the Ernie Banks of the 49ers. Jaworski with flags down. Can't find Freddie Banks open. And don't forget, at halftime, we'll have a special feeling for you of what the players have gone through during this first week or this week in London. Ahmad Rashad was with both the Dolphins and the 49ers, and we were able to...
It's about the 4th time that we've had an offsides call against the defensive line of the San Francisco 49ers.
Charles Haley called, and we were lucky enough, since it is the preseason, to be able to mic a couple of the defensive players, and you'll not only see how it goes, but you'll hear some very loud sounds.
I brought my son Nathan over, and we'd gone out to one of those scrimmages. He said, Dad, that sure doesn't sound like one of our games.
That's at halftime. 2nd down and 10 from the 32. Just 13 seconds remain. Underneath to Jensen at the 26, and timeout called, and we'll see if Reveiz comes in. No, with 8 seconds. Yes, here he comes.
Miami, number 3.
So that's their final timeout. So Don Shula trying to cut the 49er lead to 1 at the intermission. Reveiz, who was successful from 44 yards, will be kicking this one from around 42. Shula and his defense, and that'll be something to monitor all summer long if you're a Dolphin fan.
Certainly will. A tremendous amount of pride on this Miami team, and that pride has been bruised badly over the past 2 seasons. Shula, anxious to see that instilled again, would like to have his team back in the thick of things, and that's getting tougher in that AFC East, with Indianapolis and Buffalo back into the hunt. It's a tougher division by far.
43-yard attempt by Reveiz, and it is good. With 2 seconds left in the half, Reveiz hits his 2nd field goal from outside the 40. A 1-point game.
Jaworski doing a good job of moving that ball quickly down the field and getting field position for that shot for Reveiz, who's shown us good range and good accuracy so far in this ball game.
And the fans wearing the Miami jerseys, excited. NFL Properties announced that they have sold over $45 million in NFL jerseys, caps, calendars, whatever, in Great Britain last year. The rest of Europe, 23 million. So there's big business involved in this enterprise, and many of those fans, of course, that are here today wearing some NFL jerseys. Just going through Hyde Park today, Merlin,
I was trying to count them up. There are a couple of Miamis and a Ram. But if the NFL really wants to make money, they'll get a Hard Rock Cafe to be one of the teams over here.
I think probably every NFL team represented in this crowd somewhere today, and most everyone has a hat or a shirt, a jersey, the colors of one of the NFL teams on.
Now this kickoff should be the final play of the first half unless we have a penalty. Ball is covered by Michael Walter, and that is the end of the first half. Well, last year's game finished with a one-point decision when the Rams beat the Denver Broncos 28-27. Fans applauding both teams as they head to the locker room at the end of the first half at Wembley in London. It is the San Francisco 49ers 14, the Miami Dolphins 13. Stay tuned, our halftime show coming up. To the locker room at the end of the first half at Wembley in London. It is San Francisco 14, the Miami Dolphins 13. Stay tuned, our halftime show coming up.
London, London, is anyone in doubt about it? London is London, it's easy to find out about it. London is springtime, Cockney champagne. London is summer, lots of rain, but who's complaining? London is lovely, no one change his mind about it.
So what are we going to do here?
Turn around here, do what I did before.
Yeah. What is it you want us? What is going to happen?
How much
here?
time?
Okay, so I'm throwing it to Ahmad, okay? Anything you want to talk about in there?
Well, I think with Steve Young looking, we're going to be over there.
Oh, let's do it here.
Can we do it here, Larry? I'd rather do it from here. It's too much of a setup
By the
out
time
there.
we set up and run back and forth.
Can we do it from here? Anything else you'd like to do?
Let's stay right here.
In the booth. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, tell us how much time you want us to take. Well,
Why don't we take about 30, 40 seconds here? Yeah. Okay.
Well, when Merlin ends, give me 10 seconds to throw it to the piece. When he finished, whatever he said. Well, the rain that we experienced through much of the first half seems to be leaving us. In fact, the skies off in the distance beyond Wembley Stadium are much lighter, and that's good news. 14-13 the score at the intermission, with the 49ers leading the Miami Dolphins. And Merlin Olsen, any player or players impress you the first 30 minutes?
I'll certainly have to say that Steve Young looked better than Montana did in this game. I don't think the decision will be made on one game, but Young driving his team for 2 touchdowns when he got in there. Miami's defense played pretty well in the first quarter, looked a little bit lethargic in the second. We're going to see more of those second-level players in the second half, and then a lot of the rookies in the fourth quarter of this game. And let's hope that the second half of this game is as good as the second half of last year's American Bowl.
That's right. Charles White of the Rams scored the winning touchdown and then went on to lead the NFL in rushing. So it was a barometer of White's season. Well, many of you may have wondered what it's like to be on the sidelines of an NFL team practice. Well, here's the scrimmage session earlier this week in London with Ahmad Rashad.
Football, what a wonderful game. But you know, the part of it that I really didn't like was training camp. I think if you talk to any player, they'd agree with me. It's usually hot, dull, and boring. And anything that the coaching staff could do to change the monotony, every player would welcome. That's why for the past 3 years they've come to England to play this game. And this week, the 49ers and the Dolphins have had a chance to practice against each other every single day. Now, what that does is it raises the intensity level of every single drill, and it makes for a very interesting week of practice.
I think practicing against Miami helps us in the long run, but hurts us for the game, for a preseason game. We do basically the same thing we do in practice for a preseason game, whereas in the season, we mix things up a little bit. But practicing against your own defensive backs, they get used to seeing your receivers' moves, and they started sitting on routes and know your audibles. So it's good to get a chance to work against guys who really don't know your audibles or your passing game that well.
I feel it gives us a little edge because we get a chance to see the receivers' moves and a few of their plays. But as far as helping us in the season, I don't think what we saw in this practice session will be what we're getting in the game. So it's a little different. San Francisco is very tricky.
Training camp, not only for rookies, but also for veterans, is a time for learning and ironing out mistakes.
Huh?
I've been told Rodney to turn around. Now, I watched all their film, and I've not seen him run a true channel. All he does is goes in the dead area, stop, or either comes back out. So make sure when you see the channel out, if you get close to him, I mean, at least like this, get up close because he'll go either way.
Right.
As opposed to, you see the channel, you start here, you can break away, just go to here. That's tough.
Okay.
That's tough. That's a natural thing to do. You see him channel.
Go inside, cut him off.
So I think get close to him. You know, my traffic being.
Jack! Get back over, Now, the best thing about practicing against another team is that after a long day of hard hitting and knocking each other around, at least you don't have to sit down afterwards and eat dinner with them. Good old American football. Little contact, little fighting, but when it's all said and done, boy, these players love practicing against each other.
Oh, you know something? I enjoy practicing against these guys. I enjoy practicing. I love practicing against these guys. Is that what you want me to say?
Yeah.
I like practicing against these guys. But I don't like them beating me every practice play.
As you can see, if you've ever seen me on the sidelines, I always work with a band. I brought my own band here. Now, I had to play Ronnie Lott quite a bit of poundage to make that last statement, but I talked to Mark Clayton about practicing against the other team all week, and I said, Mark, when you go out there and you show them your best moves, don't you think that it gives the defensive back the advantage? He said, yeah, it may give them the advantage, but the advantage that I have is that they never know when I'm going to give them our best moves. Now, one little funny story. The Dolphins wanted to play golf the other day. They call up the most exclusive golf club in England, and they say, we'd like to have a tea time. They say, fine, you can come out and have a tea time, but you must wear a coat and jacket. These guys figured, well, it's London. Maybe they play golf in a coat and jacket. They put on coat and jacket. They show up out at the golf club, and they're served tea. Back to you, Dick.
Hey, that's part of the wonderful tradition here. 4 o'clock and you get an invite. You better be ready. That's right. Coat, tie, and tea. And a little extra cream on my scones, if you please. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
London, is anyone in doubt about it? London is London. It's easy to find out about it. London is springtime, company champagne. London is summer, lots of rain, but who's complaining? London.
You want me to read that after, before? I'm getting kind of a confused feel of that. Should I be reading that? We'll be back over the end of that, or do you want it to go clear by itself, or? Talk to us. Right, we do. Hello. This is where we're away for the this is Gail Gardner. We're back in New York with her, are we? What? Marv Albert's back there. Hall of Fame, too. Hall of Fame. I'll try to get that in over, you know, the... Biletnikoff, Ham, Ditka, and Page. Biletnikoff, Ham, Ditka, and Page. Quite the way we were lucky last year. I think we saw more of the good. Marino barely got his jersey wet. But I guess there's no need to showcase him. He's got to see what else he's got. Time from down there. Is there? Did they go take a break? Are they taking a break or something? Is that why we're? Throwing directly out. Okay. And what is it they want us to do here? What? Okay, here. I haven't heard a thing here, Larry. I don't know what's wrong. Are you talking to me? Now I do. Hello. Now I hear you. Now I don't. Something wrong. Yes, now I hear you. Okay. Crowd here at Wembley at halftime being entertained as it would be back in the United States at any high school, junior college, pro game. A marching band, the high school band from Los Angeles, California, entertaining toward the Royal Box side, the far side of the field here at Wembley. And part of the ceremony is also introducing the 8 countries represented in the Euro Bowl, as American football being represented in 8 of those countries that have sent top teams, and they will then compete in their own miniature version of our Super Bowl, and that occurring here in Great Britain this year. You just got to see, while we're looking here, maybe we can show you one of the players from France. The uniforms, most of them look very much like ours in the National Football League, but the French, and they're down here in front of us to the left. Vive la France. And when you're talking about fashion design, it carries over into the football uniforms as well. Now, here are some of the teams. That's the team from Finland wearing the Finnish blue and white colors. But down here, lower left, the black with the orange are the ones that you see the Seahawk mascots. Here we are. Those are the fellas right there to the left. Is there a number 23 there? I don't know if we can catch his pants. Now, how about those? I mean, that's the French team. I'd love to see Merlin Olsen in those pants. Now the Stars and Stripes. John Philip Sousa's famed march with the Old Glory and the Union Jack well represented as part of the ceremony. Miami and San Francisco song leaders, cheerleaders, part of the presentation.
entertained. Both teams coming back on the field. The 49ers with a 1-point lead over Miami, 14-13. Bill Walsh, who has brought 2 Super Bowl championships to the city by the bay. American Bowl 88, and of course this has been a tremendous hit here in England, and in part due to the television presentations of the independent station here, Channel 4, which has done an outstanding job, starting with basically an hour and a half recap version, edited version of the Monday night game, and then it's grown into 2 games a week, and even the Super Bowl often televised 1, 2 o'clock in the morning live here in London and drawing big numbers. Merlin Olsen, it's kind of exciting to see. I guess the comparable experience would be if cricket came to the United States and suddenly we filled Yankee Stadium and Candlestick Park watching them play.
There's great enthusiasm here, Dick, and I'll tell you, I would have killed for an opportunity to get out of training camp and come to a place like England. I hated camp, and I think some of these players feel the same way. This is a wonderful break for them to be able to get away from. Both those training camps have been very hot. Miami, traditionally a hot and humid climate anyway, and San Francisco, moving to a new training camp in Rockland, had 117-degree temperatures, and Walsh had to adjust his practice schedule going to night practices, so they've got to come over here. That's about how much? We've been in the high 50s and low 60s for practices here with quite a bit of moisture, so these guys think they've died and gone to heaven in terms of temperature.
That's right. They actually half the temperature that they had experienced out near Sacramento in their training camp as what we've had this week, where actually it was cold. We all sought actually jackets to keep warm at practice in midweek. As we look ahead to the second half, I guess what is most interesting if you're a real deep, true fan is how about the new people, the new faces, the rookies, those acquired by trade, the veterans that may be hanging on. I suppose this will be one of the many tests they'll get, but a very critical one to try to impress the coaches.
And certainly at this point, that's probably the most important thing, giving these young people a chance. San Francisco, for example, will give Danny Stubbs and Pierce Holt and Bill Romanowski a chance to work on defense here in this in the second half of this game and get a look at them. And of course, Don Shula will be looking at his young people in the same way. His number 1, Eric Kumerow, will get a chance to play, and perhaps the biggest surprise of the number 1 pick.
This kickoff for the second half sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Miami will get it first. It's Hampton at the 5. And he's out to the 25-yard line, a 20-yard return. Let's look at the first half statistics as Miami comes on the field.
The stats, of course, favor the Dolphins in the first quarter, but are very equal in this second quarter, except for time of possession, which was so one-sided. Of course, the score favoring the 49ers as Steve Young brought his team back for 2 touchdowns. Dan Marino, very impressive in his early outing here.
Ron Jaworski stays in at quarterback for Miami. Yeshwaites to the near side, and Banks to the far side. Underneath is Troy Stratford. Boy, that Stratford is tough to find. Quick feet, and he picks up another 13 yards. And that was barely delivered from Jaworski.
Well, of course, on a draw play or screen play, you want to draw that defensive line in and let them get close. You don't want to quite let them get that close. They actually had a hold of Jaworski as he was finally able to get that ball off. Good running, as you mentioned, by Stratford, who made a lot of that yardage on his own.
At the 38-yard line, first down Miami. Ron Davenport caught from behind and dragged down by Ricky Ellison, number 50, the veteran from Southern California, injured early last year and lost his job to Jim Fawnhorst. Fawnhorst had been waived, and when Ellison suffered the injury, a broken arm, Fawnhorst recalled, took the job away, and Ellison now fighting to regain it.
Linebacker is so important to this 49ers scheme. The 49ers, by the way, playing a much simplified plan for this game, using a basic 3-4 and going to the 4-3 in their passing downs, but they use a tremendous variety of defenses during the season. Second down, 8 for Jaworski.
And it's to Banks, close to another first down. And as soon as that play is dead, a 45-second clock starts. It's not the 30 this year, and this is not an experiment in the preseason. You can see the clock started as soon as Banks went out of bounds. The 45-second clock started, so they don't have the 30. That means that players that are deep downfield have to hustle back in the huddle right now at 30, and then the play to be called. They feel that'll speed up the game, the pace of the game will be. We understand that for a while we lost our station in Los Angeles, KNBC. Buddy Fred Rogan doing a great job with sports out there.
He's
They're back
filling
with
it
us.
for us, yep.
First down, Miami. Jaworski hands off to Hampton to the 49-yard line. A gain of just 1, and down under the pile, Bill Romanowski. And the man who made the first hit was Dwayne Board, who surprisingly is still in there for the 49ers. There's Romanowski. He was picked in the 3rd round from Boston College, a finalist last year for the Dick Butkus Award for the top college linebacker.
Romanowski, a very physical player. Aggressive, gets to the hole well, good speed and size. They like him. They'll give him a chance to earn a position in there.
2nd down and 9. 14-13 the score. San Francisco, just the start of the second half. Jaworski finds Davenport at the San Francisco 43, where Johnny Poe, number 25, made the tackle. Poe from Missouri, playing 7 years with New Orleans and then released and picked up by San Francisco. There he is.
It's almost as if the Dolphin quarterbacks save those cornerbacks until they need yardage, and then they go out there to pick it up. Poe has made a couple of good plays, but he has been picked on today.
Well, here's the Thames Tremble here, the Waves at Wembley. 3rd and 1. Hampton diving into the pile. That'll be close. He didn't get much. He only needed a yard.
All in the spot on that kind of play.
Based on that spot, I don't think he made it.
Be interesting to see if Shula would decide to go for it. He did earlier in the game on several 4th downs and short. They're going to bring it in to measure it.
Well, that gives the fans a chance to continue the wave. Go.
They're getting it. Hello. Kind of shut itself off all of a sudden.
4th down.
There it is.
They just missed by inches of picking up the first down. And Don Shula's going to go for it.
Well, it's a preseason game, an international exhibition of football, and he said, let's give them some of the excitement of the game. 4th and short.
Live from England, 8 o'clock in the evening. Jaworski to Stratford. They turned him upside down, but he may have gotten the necessary 6 inches.
I believe he got it. I believe he got it. The mark is inside of that 41-yard line, and I believe he's got it.
Rick Ellison, 50-38. Greg Cox, a free agent rookie in there.
Stratford upside down. It looked like an egg up there.
Romanowski had a piece of the action, and Jeff Fuller as well. But it is a first down. Bill Walsh. Tell you how relaxed it's been over here in London. He's even had a chance to get off and exercise his favorite avocation, tennis. I understand he challenged Ahmad Rashad and gave him a good go. Flag down. Jaworski wide open. It's the big tight end, Farrell Edmonds. And he fumbles, and San Francisco has the ball. Ricky Ellison, following the play, alertly picks up the loose ball, and that would be the first turnover of the game if it counts. The flag is down. Penalty is against Miami. Decline. First down, San Francisco. A 26-yard pass to Edmonds, but the fumble, and the Niners have it.
You have a sense of why Shula is so excited about Farrell Edmonds. 6'5", 250 pounds, 4.5 speed. The speed to get deep and open up those defenses.
but he's a rookie who is also capable of making mistakes. And there's a critical one right there. Ellison pounces on that football, and you see David Shula with a little conversation with the big youngster. You got to remember, that ball is yours until the end of the play. He'll remember that.
38, Greg Cox was the man who delivered the blow that forced the fumble. Steve Young remains at quarterback. He has Sidney, number 24, and Flagler, 32. Dumps it off to Sidney, incomplete. Terry Sidney, well-traveled, Seattle, Cincinnati, Denver, the USFL, Memphis, Montreal, the Canadian Football League, and last year with the 49ers, spot player, picked up 125 yards rushing, and led the team in special team tackles.
Dick, we talked about the draft picks, and we have not seen, surprisingly, Eric Kumaro, the #1 pick for the Dolphins. They hoped he would play linebacker and down lineman.
This is Flagler, who had a good first half, and the top player from Clemson. Buried after a short game. Jackie Shipp, number 50, was there early.
Just to finish that thought, Kumaro got to camp, was in such a daze trying to learn the plays at linebacker and having trouble adjusting with his quickness. They've asked him just to play in the defensive line. I'm sure we'll see him in the fourth quarter at defensive end. But he was, as I said, the biggest surprise of that first round. Everyone expected Miami to take Danny Stubbs out of Miami, who went to San Francisco in their early second-round pick.
On 3rd down and 7, into the flat to Sidney, and he loses the ball. Picked up by Jackie Shipp. That's a touchdown, Miami. They rule possession by Sidney as he slipped, hit the ground untouched, and then had the right to get up and run, fumbled the ball, and Shipp converts it into a 14-yard Dolphin touchdown.
That's one of the areas that Shula wanted to see improved on this defense. Turnovers. A big, big turnover. 7 points on the board, 6 points. Chance to put the 7th up. Jackie Shipp had his own troubles adjusting as he came out of Oklahoma. Played in a non-passing, non-sophisticated defense there, at least non-sophisticated in terms of passing. Has done a good job of adjusting. An impact player now for Miami.
LeVay's try for point. Jaworski holds. And it's 20-14 Miami. Oh, the first half played without a turnover. We've had 2 early in the second half, 1 for a touchdown.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. We just lost both monitors, if that makes any difference. Oh, Rogers and Doki. Oh, here we go. Live from London, today's game brought to you by Chrysler Motors. We just want to be the best. By Bud Light, everything else is just alike. And by Tandy Computers, because there is no better value, only at Radio Shack. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen and Ahmad Rashad at Wembley Stadium, where the Miami Dolphins on Jackie Shipp's fumble return of 14 yards for a touchdown, have taken the lead over San Francisco 20-14. Reveiz to kick it off. Del Rogers and Doki Williams are deep for San Francisco. It's Rogers at the 10. And he's to the 28-yard line. Ahmad?
All right, I'm here with the United States Ambassador, Mr. Charles Price. And once again, we have a full house.
I mean, isn't it great? You know, a few years ago, perhaps about the time I got over 5 years ago, this might have been a novelty. But today, it's absolutely exciting. The novelty period is past. Looks like a permanent fixture.
It's so strange that the interest rate has not dipped at all. It's gotten even more so.
As we were just talking earlier, it looks like there are more people here than there were last year.
How do you account for that? How about the interest of these people in this game?
I just think there's a lot more of the British people that really basically kind of understand it. You know, it's not quite as complicated to understand as cricket, for example, for Americans.
One thing that they do understand is the festive attitude. They're all in great spirits.
Yeah, absolutely. Aren't they wonderful? I love that waving, you know.
Especially they do it in the warm-up.
Yeah.
All right, now, what team are you pulling for?
Well, occasionally, you know, I'm for the 49ers, and then I'm a little bit for the Dolphins.
You know, I like your Taylor.
It's the only time I've been 100% correct since I've been here.
All right, thanks for visiting with us.
No doubt about the diplomacy of those two men. Young, scrambling. He's tough to bring down, but finally from behind, Harry Kumaro makes the tackle. Jackie Klein was also into the play, and the play prior to this one, it was Klein who made the tackle of Flagler in the backfield.
Well, this is the number 1 draft pick out of Ohio State University. Kind of a surprise, as we mentioned. Hit spin off Steve Wallace. A good pass rusher with size and a long body. He'll have to bulk up a little bit. He came in lighter than he would have come in had he known he was going to be exclusively a down lineman. He's going to have to put on another 10 or 15 pounds.
And out of the Kim Bokamper mold, Miami player of the past. Wide open was Ron Heller, unable to pull in the pass, covered by Selwyn Brown.
One of the questions you ask, or I would ask, of San Francisco is, how tough would this offense be if they had a blue chip tight end? They have such a great passing game, but they really don't have the tight end who can both catch and block as effectively as they would like him to block and catch.
Yeah, 4 in camp, of course, the starter of last year, John Frank, who took over from Russ Francis. Keller, the man you just saw on that play. David Lewis, the veteran, former number 1 pick from the Lions. Mario Perry, a Raider pick of a year ago. This is Barry Helton, one of the top draft choices of the Dolphins, or of the 49ers. He's picked in the 4th round out of Colorado. He's battling Runninger for the job, and he hits a good one. Swadees for Miami has to go back to his 24. And returns to the 31. A gain of 7 on a 48-yard punt by Helton, who will be watched closely. 8:09 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Miami by 6.
You don't have Stubbs is in there. Let's get him.
We have programmed the 4 Hall of Famers.
Maybe he's not in there, Larry. He's not in there right now. He's roaming out. Let's go back and take another look at Dellenbach. See how he's holding up. .65, Miami. Oh, Larry, the other thing we ought to do is look at Farrell Edmonds a little bit.
Where's he playing? Oh, I see. Kevin Lilly. Kevin Lilly, 92. Ed Clayton, too, if you can. Jackie Shipp, who got that touchdown on the fumble recovery, and with a towel they had is Mark Clayton. He'll give you a call later. Clayton said during the offseason he had a chance to be with the Lakers after they won the NBA championship. Of course, Bill Thompson and Milt Wagner and Billy Thompson, who played at Louisville, and that's the alma mater of Clayton, invited him back there, and he said he really got a taste of what it means to win it all. Jaworski was in the grasp of Ellison, and the play whistled there. That'll be a sack for Ellison at the 23-yard line.
First sack of the day? It is the first. A game remarkably free of penalties for Miami. San Francisco's had quite a few, but mostly offside, and good pass protection. Of course, these two teams did not do well in rushing the passer, either one of them. Miami among the worst in the league, and San Francisco, even though they finished so well defensively, was not very effective in rushing the passer during the last year. That's one of the things that Bill Walsh really wants to improve on this season.
Only 13 sacks allowed by the Dolphins last year, as they made it 6 years in a row. They protected the quarterback best of all. Pass is it. Oh, Farrell Edmonds could not hang on.
A big target. Well, I wonder how many sacks they would have had if they did not have Marino at quarterback, though. They have had some real offensive line problems, but Marino refuses to be sacked. He is so quick with his release, has such good vision downfield that he really saves a huge number of sacks.
Here's Dan, who just played briefly tonight, a couple of series. And, of course, Dwight Stevenson in the middle bulwark of that line for Miami.
We've said it before, Dick, but I think it's worth saying again. I don't think any team in the league will miss an offensive lineman more than Miami will miss Stevenson. Or could miss an offensive lineman more than Miami will miss Stevenson.
Third and long, and Jaworski up on top, going deep for Banks. And no flag. Ed Berry got away with a bump. You could see Banks' speed there. He was breaking clear.
We ought to mention that there is some optimism over Dwight Stevenson's situation. What he had is a knee problem developing, a nerve problem developing from a knee that was operated on. As you watch Banks take the bump there, and I guess declared to be inadvertent.
Well, they said they're going to loosen up on that this year. They're going to give the defensive backs a little more bump and push.
Well, they did on that play. They certainly did on that play.
Reggie Roby to punt. John Taylor back at the 25 of San Francisco. Beautiful kick. Taylor down at the 39-yard line, and flags are down.
Miami got ticketed for having 12 men on the field earlier. These flags are down the field as well. I wonder if they've done the same thing again.
George Cooper made the tackle for the Dolphins. It's a George Cooper on both sides. Illegal procedure, and that could be 12 men on the field for the 49ers. I almost think in this stage, early stage of the year, on a kick.
12 men on the field, receiving team. 5-yard penalties in the previous spot. Replay fourth down.
Yeah, I was about to step on my own tongue there because I thought, well, you know, the kick returns are so dangerous in terms of injury that if it's a decent enough kick, you almost think that maybe the coaches might just go with the play.
When you're on the field and you're not supposed to be, what do? You try and get off as quick as you can, but sometimes you don't make it to the sideline before they blow the whistle on you.
So Roby will take the 5 yards. Line of scrimmage to the 28-yard line, still fourth and about 13.
Jeff Davis, the man that was inadvertently on the field for the 49ers.
Oh, another big high burst. Taylor at his 27. And down at the 35-yard line, David Fry, number 53, and on the tackle, a 45-yard kick and 5 yards on the return. Timeout at Wembley. 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
We need to finish the Stevenson thing. I never really got the thing finished properly. So people are saying, what? You know, it's
nerve damage as a
You
result.
were just in about to say
Yeah.
what's happened to the, just not the knee,
Couldn't
but
quite get it out. It's a nerve. And he's still, he's here on the trip with them. And
he
he's
might even be able to get a
optimistic.
shot of him over
I wonder if he's on the sideline. Stevenson
Got a
on the
camera over
sideline.
there?
Larry, is Stevenson on the sideline? Do you have contact with Miami?
Well, we've already kind of done that quote.
I'd like to keep track of Kumaro. Let's follow him for a series here. That one's all right. That's why they dropped him down. Larry, can you find out if Stevenson is on the sideline? Okay, I just am asking. All right.
The other is if they give us the attendance, somebody would call that to you, right? Brassman in there, huh? Surprising. That's interesting. Home of so many important European and world football matches, and now American football for the third straight year at Wembley Stadium. 49ers trailing by 6, take over at their own 34. Young still at quarterback. He's not afraid to tuck it away. Strong-legged, and Bob Brzezinski gets a piece of him and pumps him out of bounds after a 5-yard run. Let's go back to Dwight Stevenson. The knee injury he might recover from, but it's more than just the knee.
A nerve damage to that knee during his rehabilitation period, and he really has no control of his foot. And Stevenson, as a result of that, hoping as he's beginning to get a little bit of tingle apparently in that nerve, that he will make a recovery and hope to be back with this team sometime later in the season. But as of right now, his situation very uncertain.
2nd and 5. Oh, what a fine tackle by number 91, Jeff Cross from Missouri, a 9th-round pick. Did his junior college play at Riverside City College out in Southern California. Lives right near the Colorado River, Blythe, California, and he's used to the heat. That's Death Valley area.
He made some very fine rushes during the scrimmages here. Looked good. They're looking for pass rushing pressure, and he was providing some. He's done a good job of impressing the coaches so far.
3-yard loss on that play. So it's 3rd down and 8 for Young and San Francisco. He's in trouble, and down he goes. Kumaro finishes him off. Eric Kumaro, the 16th pick in the draft, 6'7" and 260, 2 times All Big Ten. And they're trying to simplify things for him.
Well, they want to make it easy. They'd like him to have an impact as soon as possible, and they realized it was not going to be a linebacker, but he has good pass rushing skills. Steve Wallace finding out right there as he swims around Wallace very quickly, has good quickness as well as size, and will develop more strength in the Dolphin strength program.
So into punt. Barry Helton, and the rookie stuffs this one. And that's going to go right over Bill Walsh's head. You don't want to follow the flight of that punt if you're the kicker, because it went right to Walsh.
Right to Montana on the sideline over Walsh's head. And Walsh just folded his arms and looked the other way. And Helton, who had been impressive, shanked it off to the side.
Don't worry about it now.
At this point, we don't need him, but if he's there, it might not be a bad idea to show him. Who we got in there? What about the defensive line? Stubbs in there? Stubbs? No. the other 10,000? Okay. All right. I don't know. I think that's pins. One more pins there. We've lost a couple here. Don't worry about it.
You just told me 7-0.
There he is. There's Dwight Stevenson. There's Stevenson. That thing about taping that angle, put it at a 90-degree angle and playing. He asked 4 doctors if he could do that.
All-pro, some would say all-world, Dwight Stevenson. If anyone can come back from that awful injury, it's Stevenson. Most doctors would say the average athlete will not come back. Little delay, and Ron Davenport doesn't fool many of the 49ers.
Just to give you an idea of how he rations things out and thinks about things, he asked 4 different doctors. He said, could I put that foot at a 90-degree angle and tape it and play? And they all said, well, I guess you could do that. And he said, well, it would limit my mobility a little bit, but he is a tough one. I don't think we've had a player at any position who is so much better than the other players at that position in a long, long time.
Ask any defensive lineman. They'll say Dwight Stevenson. Jaworski had Hampton wide open, but had to deliver because he was being forced down in a hurry.
Danny Stubbs, number 96. He was 2 second-round picks at defensive end as Walsh went for the big defensive lineman this year. Last year was offensive lineman. Stubbs and Pierce Holt. And Stubbs out of Miami has very good quickness and good pass rushing abilities, as you saw in that play.
He led the Hurricanes with 39.5 career sacks. In fact, that was a record. Crowd 70,535 at Wembley, and hardly a seat to be found. Jaworski on 3rd and 12, and it's not there as he looked for Freddie Banks. So after the 11-yard punt by Hilton, the Miami Dolphins unable to take advantage. And on comes Roby. Jim Jensen will be the up back. 4:47 left in the 3rd quarter. Miami 20, San Francisco 14. Roby, who played at Iowa, averaging 44.7, one of the top kickers in the game. He hits that one a mile high. Whoa, that has trouble on it, and who's going to recover? I believe that 49ers finally able to fall on the loose ball. Is coming back was number 31, Chet Brooks, to pick up the loose ball. Well, we have a moment. Many outstanding people here in London, and one of them is with Ahmad Rashad.
Anytime. You know, both teams have had a lot of highlights during the week, but I must say the highlight for me was coming over here and running into one of America's national treasures, author James Michener. I've caught up with him. This is early before the game. That's why there are so many empty seats. They'll fill up sooner or later. But what brings you to London?
I love the Miami Dolphins. I love football, and I love London. That's a good mix. So when I got a chance to come over here to Joe Robbie, I grabbed at it, and I've had a wonderful 8 days, believe me.
Isn't it incredible how these people are so knowledgeable about the sport?
You know, that's been a constant surprise to me. I've been out to practice every day for about 6 or 7 hours. I'm meeting all the people in the stands who are there to watch. I'm amazed at their level of information. My taxi driver said that he hopes that the Raiders can get off their butt this year because they're rough and tough, the way Americans ought to be.
All right. Thanks for visiting with me. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Real good to see you, sir.
Thank you very much.
James Michener, there he is, traveling with the Miami party. Joe Robbie, the owner of the Dolphins, there on Mr. Michener's left. And
While they were chatting, the fans excited by this play as Young unloads a long bomb to his tight end Heller, 89, who makes a fine catch and then takes quite a lick. Fumbles the ball, but Dokie Williams, the former L.A. Raider, downfield, able to scrape in the ball, and a gain for San Francisco to the 33-yard line.
Walsh wanting to shore up that wide receiving position, went after Chandler. You saw him early in the game with a couple of big catches, and Dokie Williams. And Williams has not been able to use his abilities as well as they hoped he would, although certainly he was alert on that play. 2 plays in a row that the ball has been on the ground. San Francisco ending up with a pumpkin both times.
48 yards total on the play, 39 on the catch, 9 on the forward. Fumble. Rathman runs through one tackler and then is dropped by Jeff Cross, number 91.
Jackie Schiff, a bit of advice. Don't try and go head-to-head with Rathman. You're a linebacker, but Rathman is a bull. You got to tackle him low. You don't want to crack helmets with him.
232-pounder, and he's the kind of back, just watching him in practice, Merlin, that makes you wince because he looks for the defensive player. He wants to hit you.
He really does.
Dokie Williams to the left, John Taylor split right, Rathman in the backfield with Doug DuBose. This is DuBose. He too played at Nebraska, a free agent last year. Mike Lambert on the nose from St. Cloud State. Number 69 made the tackle. It's going to be very close to a first down at the 23 of Miami. And they're going to measure apparently with 2:56 remaining in the third quarter. DuBose, who carried with the Huskers a 1,000-yard rusher as a sophomore and a junior, and then did not play with a knee injury, a serious knee injury, his senior year. Therefore was available as a free agent last year. He's trying to make an impression. And it's not just for the coaches here. All these players know it's nationally televised. They're playing for job security and hoping that maybe some other coach might like what they see.
Well, and these are 2 teams whose rejects, if you want to call them that, will certainly be eyed carefully by those who don't have the kind of talent that these teams have. More so San Francisco, I would think, than Miami.
Especially at wide receiver. Rathman barreling down to the 15-yard line. Close to another first down before Rodney Thomas, number 45, can make the stop. And Thomas, 45 for Miami, is one of the players that Don Shula is watching closely.
As is number 26, Jarvis Williams. He used a second on Williams and a 5th on Rodney Thomas in the draft to try and shore up this defensive secondary.
Second down and 3. 2:21 left, third quarter. 49ers driving for a possible leading score. Young looking for Taylor, has to pull it down. Wide open, Rathman. Well, that's what Young's footwork will do. It'll buy a lot of time and allow men to get open. And finally, when he saw Rathman, Rathman was in the clear, but throwing back against his body. Young unable to make connections.
Young much more effective when he can roll to his left. He's rolling to his right against his body. He throws very well on the move to his left, not so well on the move to his right.
Yeah, the southpaw quarterback, we've had plenty of outstanding ones in the NFL, but they're remembered by the infrequency of a left-hander making it big. The 49ers had one, and Frankie Albert back in the 40s and 50s, that great player. Reverse again to Taylor, and he's got blockers. John Taylor to the 1-yard line. Denied by Jarvis Williams, who was picked in the second round by Miami. Well, that's the play that Bill Walsh opened the game with, and he comes right back with it, and a first down.
Tom Belivodotti, defensive coordinator, saying, hey, where are my people? And obviously they were fooled on that particular play. Taylor finds easy going to the outside. Stopped just before he got over the goal line. First and goal from the 1.
Now here's a man that should be playing with someone, John Taylor. He saw some action with the 49ers, caught 9 balls last year, but you consider here's a team with Mike Wilson, Wes Chandler, Dokie Williams, Jerry Rice,
Calvin Nicholas. Really got some.
John Taylor. Yeah. 2 catches, 50 yards today. The give to DuBose. Touchdown. DuBose. And that ties it at 20. DuBose. Easy sweep to the right, and now the try for point and the lead. And I believe they're going to use Rich Spangler here, who kicked at Ohio State. Had tryouts with Dallas, Washington, and St. Louis, and now trying to make it here with the 49ers. A straightaway kicker, almost a phenomenon these days.
A dinosaur. almost have to go and look in the beds for those. They've kind of sifted down into the sand a little bit, petrified.
And his offense will make it a little more difficult for him. He'll have to kick from 5 yards farther back. Young will hold for Spangler, and this one that gives San Francisco the lead, 21-20. Just did line drive that one through. And the Niners have the lead by a point on a drive that featured that 48-yard pass catch by Heller fumble and Dokie Williams recovery. Let's go back to DuBose with the touch.
DuBose, once he was outside, unbothered as he goes into the end zone. No help from the defensive backs. Flow inside by the linebackers shut off.
Shows good quickness, though, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Very quick feet.
5'11", 190.
This tackle there, Ship just too late to help.
So with 1 minute and 4 seconds left, third quarter, Doug DuBose with a victory sign as the 49ers once again have the lead. And since the first period when Dan Marino was at the controls for Miami, it has been San Francisco's game. Only Jackie Ship's fumble return of 14 yards for a touchdown has kept this one from being a 21-10 49er lead.
And it's been Steve Young's game. He has been very impressive.
Spangler to kick it off. Roots it high. Lorenzo Hampton at the 5. And down shy of the 20-yard line, and flags go down with it. While they sort that out, I want to remind you to stay tuned for NBC Sports World. We'll have the NFL's world-class speed burners going head-to-head as they vie for the Subaru NFL's fastest man. Will it be Willie Gold, Herschel Walker, Darrell Green, and others? The top speedsters from around the league vying out in Palm Desert for that title, won last year by Ron Brown. Darrell Green won it a couple of years ago.
Number 57 receiving team during the return. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Holding by Jerry Beasley of the Dolphins will move that ball back inside of the 10-yard line. Not a very good place to start.
Dan Marino engineered a couple of long drives for a field goal and a touchdown. Now it's up to Jaworski, who's played the bulk of this game for Miami. Final minute, third quarter, 21-20, 49ers. Draw play to Hampton, and he can't wiggle free from that good low tackle. Ron Hadley, number 54, a draft pick of the Jets in '86 out of the University of Washington, where he was an academic All-America.
Seeing this game played here at Wembley, where there's so much history and on the natural turf or pitch, exciting for me to know that one team has taken out its artificial turf this year. In Chicago, Soldier Field, they're going to replace the artificial turf with natural grass this year, and that I like to see.
2nd and 9. Schwede is intercepted. Tom Holmoe, and he was down with the contact at the 47-yard line of San Francisco. Holmoe from BYU has 4 career interceptions. Played that one very well. He was on his man and in position to intercept.
Schwede's there, but two men covering him. Kind of pass that quarterbacks are well advised not to throw, obviously, and Holmoe just turned himself into the receiver of that one, having a far better opportunity to catch it than Scott Schwades, the intended receiver.
New quarterback for San Francisco as they congratulate Holmoe, John Pay, who played his football at Stanford. Of course, Bill Walsh was the head coach there before he took over the 49er job. Drafted in the 10th round last year, Pay. He gives straight ahead in the final play of this third quarter, and Eric Kumerow makes a solid hit as the ball carrier dropped in his tracks. At the end of the third quarter, Miami trails the 49ers 21-20. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
London is London. It's easy to find out about it. London is springtime. Cockney champagne. London is summer. Lots of rain, but who's complaining? London is lovely. No one changes mind.
What was that? Was that DeBose again? Up the middle? I couldn't see it. Never got his number. Was it DeBose?
Yeah, close. Let's take another shot of Kumerow.
And the other is Jarvis Williams if he's in there.
Yeah, maybe better. We've done Kumerow. 26. He's their number 2. Yeah.
For that thing with Sports World, just any big crowd shot, slingshot if you're to start it. Right now, I don't know of one play that tells the story what this was. Jackie Shipp's a touchdown for Miami, maybe. Approach the 9 o'clock hour live from London, Wembley Stadium. Still plenty of daylight here in the northern part of Europe. London is one of the northernmost capitals either on the continent or here in Great Britain. John Pay's first throw is complete to DeBose, the touchdown maker, and he's wrestled down by Mark Brown at the 45-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down and 2 for San Francisco. The 49ers leading the Dolphins 21-20 as we kick off the 1988 preseason from London.
Dick, a trivia question, and I think you'll know the answer, but let's let our fans think about it for a minute. 2 other teams in recent years have taken out their artificial turf and put natural turf into their stadiums.
Who are they? The Bears doing it this year.
Bears doing it this year.
John Pay looking for a couple of yards and a first down. Gives to DeBose, and he's got it at the 41-yard line, right up the middle. Selwyn Brown in on the tackle. He wears number 32 for Miami. Played at the University of Miami. Was not drafted. And caught in the shadow of Benny Blades, the All-America defensive back picked in the first round by the Lions. And Brown at 5'11" and 204, known for his hitting prowess, hopes to impress the Dolphins as a free agent.
He is a hitter. It's a shame he's not a little bit bigger. He could be a linebacker. He'd be a ferocious one.
First down. Pay gives to Sidney, and Mike Lambrecht and Brown team up on the tackle at about the 37-yard line. The answer to your question?
Let's finish the trivia question. Obviously, these 2 teams are the teams. Miami Dolphins at home in the Orange Bowl tore out the artificial turf, put down natural turf. San Francisco tore out the artificial turf in Candlestick, put down natural turf. Don Shula, of course, with a new home now, Joe Robbie Stadium, which is also natural turf. And one other NFL team that will be on natural turf this year instead of artificial turf.
St. Louis Cardinals.
Yes, now in
Phoenix.
Yep.
Hay caught from behind and ripped down at the 39-yard line by Kumaro. Number 90, Eric Kumaro, reaching through a block and able to twist Hay down.
Kumaro using that 6'7" body, also getting a little help in there from Jeff Cross. I mentioned him a little earlier. Both of them showing the kind of pass rushing skills that are going to make Don Shula very happy. And Kumaro, who has had some less than thrilling days so far in training camp, has got to be feeling pretty good about himself right now.
He's taken his stepfather's name, but his dad is Palmer Pyle, who played against you. And in fact, you had to line up against him with the Colts.
Yes, he did, as a matter of fact.
Hay, under pressure, throws it through a crowd, incomplete, and that'll bring up 4th down. This time it was Mike Lambrecht putting pressure on.
Kumaro's uncle, Mike Pyle, played with the Chicago Bears. And Mike Lambrecht, one of the late cuts last year, back on the squad. Here are third quarter stats. As you can see, evening out the Dolphins with a huge edge in possession time early in the ball game, which has diminished ever since. Yardage in favor of San Francisco now, but the critical thing on the scoreboard, where the 49ers have a very slim 1-point lead.
Jackie Shipp's fumble return of 14 yards for a touchdown, keeping the Dolphins close. There's Barry Helton. His last one was scuffed for only 11 yards. Schwade's deep for Miami. This one isn't much better. Off to the side, takes a great San Francisco bounce, but goes into the end zone for the touchback. And a flag down. Illegal man downfield for San Francisco. Under the circumstances, Shula may say
they'll take it on the 20. And that, not a good punt again. Two very badly scuffed punts.
Almost good enough, bad enough to be really good.
Now, sometimes the bad ones are good.
Downfield, number 32 on the kicking team. Penalty declined, touchback, 1st and 10.
Helton showing some of the pressure of the professional game. As a college kicker, had a 44-yard average and a 40-yard net average.
Timeout. Yeah, he really has. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that
might not be a bad idea.
Do you have...
What did you say, Larry?
Beta Bowl?
Beta Bowl? Beta Bowl? Beta Bowl? Beta Bowl.
Kumaro has been impressive.
Yes, he has. Much more so than they anticipated he would be.
With the NFL office now, or are you still in? That's good, huh? That's good. Live from London, England, today's game is brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By Toyota, there's quality, then there's Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more? And by AT&T, the right choice. With Merlin Olsen, Ahmad Rashad, this is Dick Enberg. Wembley Stadium, the scene, 70,535 to see American Bowl number 3. Miami with the ball, trailing San Francisco 21-20 as we're down to the final quarter. Dave Archer is the new quarterback, and that's George Cooper, his first carry. He played at Ohio State, was a 6th-round pick of Miami, 238-pounder. Archer, the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons, successful a couple of years ago, didn't play much and was very unhappy last season, trying to win a job with Miami. He's from Iowa State. Archer's first throw. Down the middle, incomplete, intended for the tight end, Farrell Edmonds, and a late flag against Tom Homo. Ruled interference. He had his hand wrapped around Edmonds, who caught 101 passes for the Terrapins at Maryland before leaving. His idol, Kellen Winslow, and wears Winslow's number 80.
Automatic first down.
Certainly some of the size that Winslow had, more speed, although Winslow was speedy. I don't think he was as speedy as Edmonds. And of course, you have to know that Shula's eyes light up when he thinks of getting Mark Duper back and using Duper and Pruitt and Clayton, 3 speedsters, and then having a big tight end to open things up down the middle who can run a 4.5. You can't blame him for being excited.
Archer on the roll. It's the tight end, Edmonds, in a crowd. He has reached above all those white uniforms and has a first down out at the 44-yard line. No, they say he was out of bounds. He was out of bounds, apparently.
There's the chance.
He didn't get that second foot down. It isn't well marked on that far sidelines with the rain and all.
I think you're right, Mark. I think you're right.
Solid quote.
Yes.
Second down and 10. Archer on the quick handoff. Straight ahead goes Frank Middleton. He was a free agent pick of the Colts in '84. Was on the San Diego replacement team last year. 5'11", 210-pounder from Florida A&M. 11 minutes left in this final quarter. 21-20 the score. San Francisco leads it. And since the first quarter, it has been the 49ers game, although the score would not reflect that. Archer on 3rd and 7. Well, a guy named Archer ought to be able to hit the bullseye, and he does, right in the middle of number 8 Middleton's jersey. And a 13-yard first down.
Archer competing with Kerwin Bell for one of those 3 quarterbacking slots. And certainly with his experience would have a big advantage. He's a mobile quarterback, good passing arm. Did a good job. In fact, he won 10 of 13 starts for the Atlanta Falcons at a time when they were happy to be winning a third of their ball games. So he's the kind of player that has some pretty good stats in his favor.
Well, they feel that if he can't make the Miami team, that he might be trade bait. He or Jaworski. Here's Middleton. Good hard running to midfield. As the Dolphins have Marino, Jaworski, and Archer you've seen today, plus the rookie from Florida, Kerwin Bell, and Don Strock, who has not signed as yet. So they're really talking about 5 quarterbacks. They'll keep only 3. And a pretty good player is going to be available. Maybe good enough that Shula's thinking I'll get a draft choice for him. Will it be Archer or will it be Jaworski? Second down, 6. 9.5 minutes to go. Straight ahead goes Tom Kelleher. He's an 11th round pick from Holy Cross. Actually gained more yardage there last year than Gordy Lockbaum, one of the Heisman Trophy candidates.
Dick, we haven't seen a couple of the draft picks today for the 49ers. Pierce Holt, a big defensive end, would ordinarily be in this game. You see Danny Stubbs, number 96, out of Miami, the first of those number 2 picks. And it's Stubbs who has been known to use his fist a little bit on and off the field, who is creating that play, creating the disturbance there.
Third down and 6. Open, short yardage. Sean Beals. He's a free agent from Idaho State, where he caught 132 passes in his career. And they feel as a free agent, he has a possible shot at making this roster. Beals, number 15. Only 4 yards on the play, so it's 4th and 2.
Well, two of the players that have been impressive in that defensive line for the 49ers that we have not seen today. Pierce Holders, one, a 6'4", 280-pound defensive end. And the other one is Kevin Fagan. They drafted him as a project in '86. And I'll tell you, he was throwing people around in those scrimmages. I think he is going to be an outstanding lineman.
Roby to punt. They'll just try to hit this one high and hope that it can be covered by one of his teammates. But that one's going to go into the end zone. Touchback for San Francisco at the 20-yard line. When we return, we're midway through the fourth quarter at Wembley Stadium. 21-20, San Francisco.
Let's look at 26, Jarvis Williams. What? Not bad. Yep.
Well, you don't even need the rest. Okay, if you got a lot of time. I mean, you're asking people to read a lot. If you switch, you...
Is that a vote of confidence or what? Somebody else we ought to talk about is Todd Shell. Yeah. All right. We ought to mention Todd Shell.
Leave it on because it's all yes. I saw different talking front.
Yeah, both of those guys. Tina's not here, is he? No, I don't think so. Maybe he's here, but he's not playing. Yeah, he's on rehab.
Welcome back to Wembley. A 1-point lead for the 49ers, who have the ball at their own 20-yard line. Miami jumped out to a 10-0 lead. Dan Marino starting and played just the first quarter. At halftime, it was 14-13 San Francisco. Then Jackie Shipp picked up a fumble, ran 14 yards for a Dolphin score to make it 20-14. And then a long drive engineered by Steve Young of San Francisco has been very impressive to give the 49ers the lead 21-20. And this is John Pay to Harry Sidney, and that'll be a first down out to the 32-yard line. 12-yard gain.
Sidney, a little delay out of the backfield, just swings to his right. Archer locked on him all the way. At the end of this play, Jarvis Williams, number 26, comes in, gets a few bumps. Well, we don't see it there, but there were near fisticuffs down on the field.
57 was Jerry Beasley on the tackle from Arizona. John Pay, the quarterback. He was not only an outstanding thrower on the Stanford football team, but is a 3-year basketball letterman as well. A fine basketball player with the Cardinal. Open is Oki Williams. Oh, he was one step from a touchdown as Selwyn Brown tripped him up. Good throw by Pay, and Williams running a fine pattern.
Bill Walsh looking for a mate on the other side for Jerry Rice. Dokie Williams with great speed, with sprinter speed, would make a fine mate for him. But Dokie has had a few problems with injuries, and one of the raps against him is that he won't play when he's dinged. But boy, when he is healthy and when he is moving, he can get down that field about as fast as any receiver in the NFL.
He was involved in a complicated draft day trade, Raiders and San Francisco. DeBose showing some good moves, and a flag goes down as DeBose is bumped out of bounds after another solid carry of about 7-8 yards.
Rodney Thomas missing a tackle from his quarterback.
Unnecessary roughness. Late hit, number 26 out of bounds. 15 yards from the dead ball spot. First down.
Jarvis Williams, you see him, 26.
Steaming over from the side. Watch number 45, just simply faked out of position. Although that's a great move by DuBose, and there's the shot. Clearly out of bounds. Jarvis Williams, late getting there, has got to lay off on that kind of hit.
But it is tough to read that sidelines. Not well defined. So with the 15-yard penalty, it's down to the 24-yard line for San Francisco, and a chance to build on that 21-20 lead. Calvin Nicholas in the game, wide right. Dopey Williams split to the left. Hey, fumbles the snap. Kumerow right there for Miami, and I think he's got it. Yes, Miami ball.
Big boost for Miami's #1 draft pick, who's had some, as we mentioned, some tough days as he had difficulty adjusting to the linebacking position and shifted down to defensive lineman. He's had a couple of sacks and now a fumble recovery. Made some nice plays on the day. Has to bolster his enthusiasm, his ego.
And he fought for this ball. He had to battle a couple of white jerseys and able to rip it away. And I would say at this point he's been the most impressive rookie on the field today. Kumerow, timeout, 6 minutes to go. Where are you finding these? You making these up? These players? Yeah. Sumo wrestling?
Who won the Hall of Fame game?
Cincinnati 14-7. Is that right? Cincinnati beat the Rams 14-7 in the Hall of Fame. Is that correct? Campagna or Campagna? Campagna. They've been enthusiastic indeed again this year. 70,535 at Wembley Stadium. Miami thwarting a possible go-ahead score for San Francisco, or a score that could have solidified a win on the fumble recovery by Kumerow. And it's David Archer firing the pass to about the 40-yard line and a first down. Michael James, the wide receiver, picking that one off.
Very close to the line of scrimmage. Here's James breaking down, just a little ripple pattern to the inside. Finds himself all alone. You might have guessed it. That's our cornerback again, who's out of position. That's kind of tough.
Archer smothered for a sack at the 32-yard line. Stay tuned. NBC Sports World, the world's fastest man competition. We'll follow our coverage here from Wembley. And sumo wrestling. You ever think about...
No. You know what I kind of miss? I haven't heard it yet. Some of the soccer songs, some of the football songs that they used to sing here in the first couple of American Bowls. I haven't heard them today.
I think they've really become so much into the American football
Maybe
game.
they understand us too well now. That was one of the things I enjoyed most about the game.
Archer again in trouble. Dumps it off incomplete. Nobody there. Pressure applied. The 44, Sam Kennedy. He's been in the backfield the last two plays.
Archer has mobility, but he says, look, guys, I don't want to have to run this often. Somebody got to pick that guy up. Blitzing linebacker all by himself. You got to find somebody to put a helmet on him.
Kennedy from San Jose State. That's where his coach Bill Walsh was a defensive and offensive end in the 50s. Third down and long. 15, maybe 16 to go. Archer has a man downfield and a first down at the 49-yard line. It's Sean Beals. He's the young guy we told you about from Idaho State. And that's a big throw, needing 16 for a first down. He gets 18 and keeps the drive alive with 4:25 left.
Archer impressive as he feels the pressure but stays in that pocket until the last second. And Beals, who's not big but is very, very quick, a rookie, able to take that football and then is stripped down by Tom Holmoe.
Number 48, George Myra.
Now that's a familiar name for both these teams.
George Myra, first father-son combination to sign with San Francisco as Middleton driving to the 43-yard line. 6 yards for Middleton. 2nd and 4 for the Dolphins. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Miami Dolphins, the home team today, and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, Miami Dolphins, and San Francisco 49ers. All rights reserved. Dave Archer, 4 for 6 and 51 yards for Miami. Has another man open. It's 18, Michael James, and he ducks out of bounds at the 35 of San Francisco on another first down. And while things were sluggish for a couple of quarters for Miami and Ron Jaworski, Archer has really picked up the offense.
Well, a young rookie from Idaho State is not having a bad day either. Working on Chet Brooks again, who is not having a good day. Brooks laid off again, respecting some speed there, but they've got to do a better job of covering the net.
Michael James played at Washington State. Middleton on a draw and is to the 31-yard line on a first down play. That's a field goal could win it for Miami, and they are now at least in long field goal range. And you see Fuad Reves recognizing that his number may be called as we're under the 3-minute mark. There's Reves, who has 2 field goals
on the day, 2 impressive field goals on the day.
44 and 43 yards. Only missed 2 all of last year in the shortened season. 2nd and 7. Whoops, blown play, and Archer has to eat it. Stubbs right there to secure the tackle. Archer not afraid to run the ball. In fact, he led the NFL quarterbacks in rushing 3 years ago, almost 350 yards with the Falcons. There it is. So 3rd down and 8 with 2:22 remaining in this game. 21-20 San Francisco leads. Big play for both teams. Archer gets it away at the last second, completes to Kinson, a rookie from LSU. First down and a flag down. And that was very close to being in the grass. Archer had a jersey being tugged, but able to get it away.
It was Danny Stubbs, the top draft pick of the 49ers, who'd been knocked to the ground. Archer went by, and Stubbs got a big hand on him, hooked him. We'll see all of that in just a moment. They're going to march off additional yardage against the 49er defense.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Late hit out of bounds, number 31 defense. Half the distance penalty, first down.
The call goes against Chet Brooks, the rookie, at the 2-minute warning.
Here's the play. Archer, watch him going to his left. There's Stubbs up off the ground very quickly, got a hand on him, but it's grasp and control, and there was no control on that play, and there was the late hit by number 31, Brooks.
So with a penalty, Miami, when we return, will have it 1st and goal at the 8, trailing by 1.
Well, that's a little turnabout. Archer impressive, huh?
Archer impressive. Much more impressive than Jaworski.
Yeah. Cloud up here looked like a castle in a far hill.
We still haven't done the Hall of Fame.
You get a chance here. Steve Young right
Yeah,
now.
Young is still a guy right now. Yeah.
But Archer, maybe, I don't know. You can't give it to him on one drive, really. No, Young still.
I still think it's
Young was
Young,
the most,
right?
the most impressive player.
Yeah. No?
Yeah.
Well, you want to do it right now?
Yeah, sure.
That's fine.
Time for the Most Valuable Player Award, sponsored by Budweiser. Today's MVP, Steve Young of the San Francisco 49ers. Very impressive. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of Steve Young, today's Most Valuable Player. Dave Archer would like to wrest that honor away, but doesn't have time. But he has been very impressive on this drive, taking his team down to the 8-yard line. The Dolphins trailing 21-20. Less than 2 minutes to go. Middleton. Flags are down. And at this point, Archer, the veteran quarterback, undoubtedly telling his team, hey, no mistakes. At the very worst, even with a penalty, we can stay within field goal range and win this game.
Holding penalty. No, a pushing. Illegal use of hands penalty against the defense. Hand to the face mask, perhaps.
Dolphins seem to be the more popular players and team with the British fans prior to this game, and now with a chance possibly to win it on this drive. Fans picking up their support.
Let's go fish. Is that what they're yelling?
Dolphins.
Oh, Dolphins. Not the Dolphins, huh?
1st and goal from the 4. Middleton tripped up at the 3. Clock will run unless the 49ers call a time here. And Ronnie Lott, here's the intensity of Ronnie Lott. He is running down the sidelines to call time. And here's the first preseason game. And important to him. They still want to win it, save themselves some time, hoping to get the ball back.
San Francisco, number 1.
First time out of the second half. That gives us a chance to salute your new compatriots at Canton, Ohio, in the Professional Football Hall of Fame.
Well, big congratulations to Freddie Biletnikoff and Jack Ham, Mike Ditka, Alan Page, 4 great competitors. I remember them well personally, all very deserving of a chance to be enshrined at Canton, Ohio, and I know that was an emotional and very welcome experience for them, and I'd just like to pass along personal congratulations to each and every one of them.
Indeed. Messrs. Biletnikoff, Ham, Ditka, and Page. We were talking about pursuit, and earlier today, Hugh Green saving a possible touchdown, traversing the field, trailing the play, getting the angle, hustling, and you're talking about Alan Page and how well he used to cover the field.
Had a marvelous sense of being in the right place at the right time.
Best of 1980. The Redskins only a half game behind Miami and San Francisco. 3 teams with 80 wins. The toss to Middleton. Ooh, stopped cold. In fact, he lost a yard. Good pursuit by the 49er defense.
Ed Berry, number 23, making a fine play, along with Glover, number 93. Berry slicing in there to get a good piece of him initially.
And the 49ers will exercise their second timeout. Bill Walsh, now in his 10th year at San Francisco. He passed Buck Shaw as the winningest 49er coach of all time. And 49er family will remember their first voice, Bud Foster, who passed away earlier this month. And our sympathies to his family and all of the fans of one of the great voices of professional football, Bud Foster. Voice of Cal and Stanford, the 49ers, the old Flying A days, the radio.
I missed a lot of that.
I'm old enough to remember.
Well, I do remember the early days at Kezar, too.
Here comes another big third down play. 1:32 to go, well within field goal range, but Archer looking for a touchdown. Oh, he bootlegs it for the score. Oh, my. Caught the entire 49er defense going the other way.
An angry Bill Walsh on the sideline. Archer came very close to being called, I would think, for taunting. One of the new rules in the NFL. You don't taunt those defensive backs. Archer holding that football out when he realized he was alone out there.
Now the try for point by Reveiz. Jaworski to hold. Good. 27-21. Miami and Dave Archer very impressive on that drive, and I wonder if that was a called play or whether he just decided to work it himself.
Well, either way, well done, well called. As he coasted into that end zone, he may have made the team on that particular play. Watch it right here. It's called. That offensive back would have been looking for it. There's what I talked about. There's Berry coming over, and maybe not as bad. It didn't look as bad that time as it did initially. So here's how you could tell it's a called play. Had he not handed off, and that was supposed to be a running play, that back would have looked back for that football.
So Dave Archer, and the call was fantastic, has scored to give Miami the lead, but plenty of time for San Francisco with 1:28 to go.
Well, we have to remind folks who are not up to speed with San Francisco that Tim McKyer and Don Griffin, the starting cornerbacks, are not here. Torrey Nixon, who was supposed to be playing cornerback, is injured. Eric Wright was going to step in and play cornerback. He's fighting some injuries. So we're looking at third-string cornerbacks for the San Francisco 49ers, and they have paid a price for that today.
Well, 3 third-down conversions by Archer. And remember, one was 3rd and 16 when he hit Beals at midfield. The other to Kinchin for a 15-yard gain. Little Darrell Wallace from the University of Missouri brings it out to the 23-yard line. Tackled by Rodney Thomas, and now it's San Francisco that'll try to go for the score. They need the touchdown and extra point to win it.
Second chance is a wonderful thing, and Archer, who suffered through such a bitter final season in Atlanta, said, I need a chance to clean things out of my system. Well, he's certainly done a good job with it today, and I would have to say has put himself into the number 2 spot at quarterback here in Miami.
Don Shula trying to get his Dolphins off to a winning start, calls the bootleg on 3rd and goal at the 3. John Pace stays as quarterback for San Francisco. What a catch in traffic by Calvin Nicholas from Grambling. An 11th round pick last year, and Pay had to thread that through a lot of defense. 14 yards, no huddle, 1:05 to go. 27-21, Miami leads. Pay. Out of bounds. Mark Mathis, 21, made the play. 5 yards on the game.
Shades of the last-minute heroics of last year's American Bowl game, when the game was not decided until the final seconds. And we saw the lead change hands several times in the final 2 minutes of the game.
That was Charles White, who played magnificently for the Los Angeles Rams, and then just at that time wondering if he would be a serious player in the Rams offense. And then, of course, with the developments, Eric Dickerson going to Indianapolis and White playing so well after Dickerson's troubled start and winning the NFL rushing title.
2nd and 5. Hay diving for the first down to the 49. David Fry, number 53, secures the tackle. The clock is running, 40 seconds. San Francisco had to spend 2 of those timeouts during Miami's drive. So Hay working under that handicap. No one there. He was looking for the sideline pattern.
Good pressure from Mike Lambricht up the center.
Chuck Scott, a veteran from Vanderbilt, was going downfield, and Hay looking for the deep out. 26 seconds to go.
Realistically, they've got to have big yardage on this play. 26 seconds and counting down. 2nd and 10. With a lot of yardage, for 51 yards between them and that goal line.
One of the big plays in the game. Of course, Jackie Schiff picking up a fumble in the 3rd quarter and rumbling 14 yards for a touchdown.
And this is where an inexperienced quarterback is really in trouble. Doesn't have the feeling for the 2-minute offense.
Breaks a tackle and fumbles, and Miami recovers at the 36-yard line. Deshaun Jenkins, number 38, a free agent pick from last year out of Northwestern Louisiana State, was there for the ball, and Hay did all he could, and with his receivers covered, scrambling away from pressure, tried to get all the yardage possible, and maybe went that one step too far.
Well, the experienced quarterback would probably throw that one away and save the clock, which is most important, but you have to admire his courage. No lack of courage. He needs a little more experience. That's not a bad man to work for, by the way, if you want to learn how to play the quarterbacking position. Walt's famous for his ability to tutor young quarterbacks.
Kenny Anderson, Dan Fouts,
it's
Montana.
A long list. Now Steve Young and this man.
They stripped away, and Jenkins, the right man for the Dolphins, at the right spot. And now, just to run out the clock, Dave Archer. Fans, of course, don't appreciate that. They don't like that any better than most American fans, to have the game end on the quarterback's knee. But that's it, and it was highly entertaining. Don Shula's Miami Dolphins come from behind, and in the 4th quarter, a drive led by David Archer, 76 yards in 12 plays, and Archer capping it with a bootleg touchdown to beat San Francisco 27-21. So American Bowl 3 goes to the Shula-led Miami Dolphins, and 2 top coaches will have more to talk about as the days go on, and we'll be right back. Okay. Well, if you want me to read all this, I can't do all that in 15. Oh, you don't want any credits. Okay.
It's a long game.
Yeah, it was.
Who was worried about a short game, Larry? Was that you? I'll tell you, it was a long game for those San Francisco cornerbacks. Oof. Maybe the longest of their lives.
Well, actually had a little drama anyway. What? Wait, I didn't hear all of that. Okay. No bootleg in the booth. Ted Nathanson, our director, Larry Cirillo, our producer. Our thanks also to Joe Costanza, Bob Bess, Sal Capagna, Lad McKittrick, David Ron, for Ahmad Rashad, and Merlin Olsen. Dick Enberg, thank you for being with us on our NBC kickoff to the 1988 season. The Miami Dolphins defeating the San Francisco 49ers 27-21. Stay tuned for NBC Sports World, NFL's Fastest Man.
Okay. Are you sure they're going to want to do it now? May not want to do it. We're so far away. Thanks for your help. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Hey,
Thank you very much.
Yeah. No Sports World? Okay. All right, we're wrapped. Good.